Buckets. Hello and welcome to episode 55 of Two Man Game with Damon and Dom. I'm Damon, that's Dom, and you are the listener. Episode 55, of course, we got a shout out to Kimbe Mutombo. We talked about him a couple days ago, tragically passed away. So we had to bring him back on his jersey number episode, and then also throw out Isaiah Hartenstein. We'll talk about him a little later on because there's some news
Yes, we
related to him.
will.
Um, but yes, episode 55, the season starts on Tuesday. So this will be our last episode before the season starts. It is currently Saturday, October 19th, as of this recording. The NBA season is here. We made it through the off season. We've talked about every position, and today we will get into our season standings, our award predictions, so on and so forth. But first, Dom, how are you today?
I'm doing good. I am excited. I think I today's gonna be a great day. I get to talk hoops with my boy. I'm gonna go record music with the band later. So
Let's
uh
go.
let's go. Life, this is for you. Anyway, so I've had a good weekend so far, and I had a good week. I don't know if we potted since last time, but I've been to the Intuit Dome. Did we talk about that last time or
I
no?
don't think so. No.
Yeah, I went twice, 2 days in a row to the Intuit Dome last weekend. I went to see Weezer for free. I got free tickets.
Oh, I do
Um,
remember. Or maybe we were just talking about that off pod. Um,
yeah,
I guess I didn't realize it was at Intuit Dome. I didn't
yeah, literally
know that.
Intuit Dome. Yeah, so it was really cool, like to go into that new stadium. I think we did it off pod. Yeah, and everything's like face, like it scans your face when you walk in. They just kind of like nod to you if you can walk in. So super interesting.
That's weird.
Also, like getting drinks and stuff. I got free food and drinks because it didn't scan my face, so it's pretty cool. Um,
Nice.
Into a dome hacks. Just walk in, take whatever you want, and walk out.
So to be a
But
YouTube tutorial for our channel.
yeah, there we go. We can throw it on there. But it was really cool to go to the dome. I saw two concerts there, and it was sick. The view was really nice. I am going to a game, and not this coming Wednesday, but next Wednesday.
Okay,
Blazers Clippers into a dome. First game there
let's
for
go.
me. So super excited about that. And I also found where to park for free. So that's also sick.
Oh
So I
yeah,
don't have to pay
he's in his bag,
crazy. I'm in my bag.
ladies and
Anyway,
gentlemen.
so
Bag
this
secured.
man is in his bag. Bang secured. This guy is
What?
I was doing a Mike Breen bang secure, like it's a secure
Bang!
bang.
Secured.
Secure bang. So it was great. Anyways, into a dome. It's cool. I liked it.
Yep.
And it's simple. It's a little high tech, which like it's tough for the older crowd to kind of understand, but like it there weren't as many bathrooms as I was promised, though. That did upset me. I thought there was
What?
going to be behind every section. It's not behind every single section. It's like behind every four sections. I'm like, that's how it is everywhere. Like, there's no difference. Anyways, but yeah, no, I've been good. How have you been? How's your week been?
I've been good as well. Busy work week. Very tired all week, feels like. That time of year with the students, we're just ready for Thanksgiving break, I think.
Yeah.
Ready for the first big one of the year. But no, I've been good. I actually was just looking since you were talking about the Clippers, October 26th, it's going to be Spurs Rockets down in San Antonio.
You gonna go?
That's next Saturday. So, no, not next Saturday. No, yeah,
Yeah,
next Saturday.
it is next
Uh,
Saturday.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm dumb. Yeah, I do want to go. Now that I've seen that, I gotta find, someone that wants to take that journey with me. I don't want to do that by myself. That sounds terrible.
Absolutely not. Here,
Um,
fill me in on your week. I'm gonna find out how much tickets are for that. I'm curious.
yeah, I was just looking. But yeah, I also saw Smile 2 last night, which was pretty
And
good. It was pretty good. I was
com
surprised because, sorry,
compared to the first one, I was gonna
I
ask.
think it was just like, have you seen the first one?
Hmm.
I think it was just like a little bit better. It was like
Really?
kind of the same in terms of like, how the movie progresses and such, but I think it was a little more well executed.
Like the same beats, kind of like, okay, person sees something with that, and then they follow or whatever, right? Type thing.
Yeah. It just
Gotcha.
it didn't do anything too crazy. I mean, there were some things here and there that weren't present in the first movie, but I think that it was well executed. Naomi Scott, I just looked up her name. Great performance as the lead character in that movie. Um,
Okay.
I liked it a
Cool.
lot. Usually, I feel like sequels let me down, so I
Yeah.
was expecting to kind of be let down, but no, I mean, like I said, there was parts here and there I was like, okay, this is just like the first movie, and then there was some other stuff that I won't get into because it's kind of spoilery that I
Yeah,
was
I
like,
don't. Yeah.
ah, but it was good overall though.
Were you spooked? Was it scary? Because the first one, I jump at everything, so it doesn't have to take a lot to scare me. But were you
Yeah.
scared?
No, I don't really get scared anymore at horror movies. It just doesn't happen. But
Yeah.
I mean, there's some well executed kind of tension that leads
Yeah.
into jump scares, and then it wasn't just like out of nowhere. It was like, oh, like you could
Okay.
tell something's gonna happen, and even when it did happen, it was like, oh, that still kind of like was well executed, even though I knew it was coming, which is nice.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. I don't know if I'll see it in theaters, but I'll definitely keep in mind. I'm the same with sequels. I don't trust them usually. So good
Yeah,
to know. It was
I
good.
was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. What shirt are you rocking today?
I'm rocking Through the Wire today because I think they have been through the wire for like, I mean, numbers on the board, whatever they're called now, for like a
Yeah.
year now. So I was like, oh, I'll put this shirt on, I guess. Like I like
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
past that date where they change over to numbers on the board. So
Sounds about right. I still listen every now and then. I love the Summer League hat too, by the way.
yes, my hair's been a disaster, so I've been rocking hats lately.
Dude, I think no matter what you do, your hair looks good.
Thank you. What about you? What do you have going on over there?
Welcome back, King James, Cleveland Cavaliers. I found this for $2 at a thrift shop, like my first month living in LA. So I bought it. Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Do
Um,
you feel like a king when you wear it?
I feel the crown. That's what I'm
Yeah.
always doing that. The
You
whole
do that
pod was gonna
before
be
your shows?
yeah. I go on, people clap, and I do this, and they go, no, no.
Who
They
is
go,
this? Who let this
no.
guy up here?
Who's this hooligan thinking he's a king? Um, no, it's yeah, it's a fun shirt. I haven't worn it in a bit. I think I've worn it before on the pod.
I like yellow
But
shirts, underrated.
yeah, I totally agree. Yellow was, I don't know if we talked about this on the pod. Yellow was the color of my bedroom growing up, and I loved it because it like really brightened the whole space.
Yeah.
Anyways, basketball. Let's talk a
That's
little
what we
bit.
talk about here, I
Yeah,
think.
that's what we do. Before we get into the NBA, let's talk a little bit about the WNBA because this series has been wild.
What a great finals.
Yeah, so last time we like live reacted to the ending of the Lynx making a record-breaking comeback of 18 points to beat the Liberty in game 1 in New York, which
Yeah,
was crazy.
it was huge.
Yeah.
Three
And
crazy
then
games since then.
exactly. And then Brianna Stewart led the Liberty in game 2. She got 21 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, and a WNBA Finals record-breaking 7 steals against the Lynx to win game 2.
Yeah.
So 1-1. And then Sabrina Ionescu, right? Say it right?
I want to say it's Ionescu. I feel like I say both, so I don't know.
Ionescu. Well, I saw this play. This was crazy. She hit a near logo 3 with 1 second left to defeat the Lynx in game 3.
Yeah.
And the Liberty went up 2-1. And they went to Minnesota yesterday. And guess what? The Lynx tied up the series, winning 82-80. I looked at the scores and it was super close the entire game
You wrote
until like the
82 to
very
20
end.
on here, so I was a little
I meant 82
confused.
to 80. That's my bad.
I was like, wow, they absolutely destroyed them.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna change. Okay, cool. Yeah. So the final game is tomorrow at 5 p.m. I'm gonna do my best to try and find a way to watch it. That's
You should go
game 5.
all the way to New York.
New York. I would love a reason to go to New York. Also, they play in Barclays, right? Not Madison Square Garden, right?
I couldn't tell you.
I'm
Maybe
pretty sure they play in Barclays.
it does seem like it because I feel like the Nets court is kind of dark and like their court is also kind of dark.
Yeah, I don't think they do Madison Square Garden for the Liberty.
MSG.
Yeah,
Yep.
but anyways, crazy series.
It's been a great series. I wish it was a 7 gamer instead of a 5 gamer. Next year
I
it's going
agree.
to be 7 games.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
They're extending it. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
they've decided that already. But man, it would have been great this year because what a series we've had so far. Either team's definitely going to be deserving. Great end to the WNBA season
Hmm.
for sure. As the NBA is about to get underway here.
I mean, it was like a record-breaking season for them too. I mean, like Caitlin Clark, and then everyone like kind of buying into the WNBA, going to games, and I saw a clip the had a WNBA Finals clip of like 2018, and it was like a high school gym. Basically, it looked like a high school gym, and now they're showing it now, and like Barclays Center, like almost like sold out, 18,000 people. Like, it's cool. It's great to see. Basketball's sick.
Yeah,
So
for sure. I agree.
Yeah.
I want to get into more WNBA. I want to get into more, like Euro League and stuff too. I feel like that stuff can be kind of interesting, just because like the
Yeah,
way they play basketball is different than NBA. So seeing like stuff like
I
that
totally
could be
agree.
fun.
And the rules are different too in EuroLeague.
Hmm.
What team do you think you would root for the WNBA?
That's a good question.
Dallas
Um,
Wings?
yeah, I was like Dallas. I guess technically is the closest. Man, that's tough. I would have to look and see. I think and do some
Mhm.
research because I feel like um, growing up as a young NBA fan, I was very much a player fan. Russell Westbrook. I like the Thunder a
Of
lot. I
course.
like the Suns when I was a kid with Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire and those guys. So I don't know if there would be like I'd gravitate towards a team with like a player that I like.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
little different when you're older because like when you're a kid, yeah, I was a Raiders fan because I got like from a little merchandise thing for 50 cents a little like mug and I was like I'm a Raiders fan for life.
yeah,
And I
that's
have
it.
been like I was like I guess I am still. It's
Yeah.
like what
And I mean,
else
I
is
feel like
there?
I really only became a Rockets fan because I moved back to the Houston area and went to so many Rockets games, and it was like feels like
For
I kind of
sure.
have to be a Rockets fan. I've been to so
Yeah.
much, and it was like right when the Harden era ended and like the rebuild started, and I was like, okay, I'm starting fresh with this team. Uh, you know,
Yeah,
I wouldn't
for
be like I'm going
sure.
to be a Liberty fan because they're like in the finals right now. That'd be kind of
Right,
silly.
for sure. No,
Um,
I agree. Yeah, I don't I'm Sparks, I guess. But yeah, I mean they have some good young players.
I do
So,
the Dallas team does have a Rike Bawale, who I like, so
ooh,
I
that's the
have no
name I
idea
remember.
how
I think I tried to say that on the pod a few times ago and I just could not say it correctly. Sounds about
happens.
right. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about some roster moves.
Yeah, so a lot of roster moves in the NBA. A lot of these happened actually today, this morning, because preseason's about to be over, regular season's about to start. Teams have to cut down their roster, get to that 15. A lot of them had, 16, 17, 18 players. So let's start with the Nets. They waived Killian Hayes. He's currently rehabbing from a hip injury, and he's going to try to get on to their G League affiliate. So
Okay.
he
Hopefully
won't be
he
on
I
the
mean,
Nets starting the year
gotcha. Hopefully he I mean, I want to. I hope he want. I want him to get a second chance for sure. So hopefully he gets back sooner rather than later.
for sure.
Yeah, Celtics waived Lonnie Walker, which is crazy to me because they got him on such a good deal. Lakers, call him up, call Lonnie up.
That Exhibit
Game,
12 or Exhibit 10 contract or whatever, and they
yeah.
waived him is crazy.
What was it? Was it Warriors? It was like game 4 Lonnie when he held like he scored like 12 points in the fourth quarter or something.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways, come bound back. Come on home. Come on home. Come home.
Come come home, Lonith.
Lonnie.
That's what they call him, though, you know.
Mhm.
Another waiving. Knicks waived Landry Shamet. He's currently recovering from a dislocated shoulder, so they won't have him to
Oof.
start the season.
They waived him. Does that mean maybe you know better? So they waived him. Does that mean he might be able to join on later if there's a roster spot or
So
no?
waiving is basically like releasing, and there's like a waiver thing in the NBA. So if teams usually have like priority, based on how bad they are. So like the bad teams usually have first waiver priority to claim a guy off waivers. I doubt that Killian Hayes and Landry Shamet, those guys will be jumping to claim them. But
Yeah.
no, typically like to waive somebody from a standard contract to free up that roster spot, they could still join on like a two-way if the team still has, those two-way contracts, or if they have any G League contracts, anything like that. They just can't
Yeah.
fill the NBA standard contract because they're like I said, there was probably 16 guys on the roster and they needed to waive one to start the season with 15.
Gotcha.
He's just
Okay.
kind of the odd man out.
Okay. It's a good thing to talk about since I didn't even really know. So cool. Thank you.
Now you
Um,
know.
the Bucks are releasing Angie Pasekniks to convert Liam Robbins to a two-way contract.
Yeah, those are two players that we know.
Totally. I'm friends with them.
Oh, that could be Lithuanian. I don't know.
Absolutely not. Absolutely
The
not.
uh the Kings traded Jalen McDaniels and a second round pick to the Spurs in order to create roster flexibility, and the Spurs ended up waiving Jalen McDaniels. So he's now a
I'm
free agent.
sure I'm sure he'll find somewhere, right? I mean, he's pretty
Probably. Yeah.
solid.
They
Yeah.
traded Davion Mitchell for him and then waived him. So they traded Davion Mitchell for like nothing, basically.
Yeah. Interesting.
Kind of wild.
Um, well, I do like this. So Doug McDermott signed a 1-year deal with the Kings. I
He
like
fills in
that.
that spot that
Yeah, it
they
fills in that
created.
Harrison Barnes. Yeah. Oh, that spot. that they lost, but also even before that, I feel like he's very much like a Harrison Barnes, probably a little bit worse, but kind of still like that kind of player,
Old
like an
guy.
old 3-and-D kind of player. So
Yeah.
I like Doug McDermott. So cool.
Dougie
I
McBuckets.
more players on the Kings I like. No,
Yeah.
yeah, there we go. I said that right. I thought I was gonna flip stuff around.
Um,
Anyway,
the Clippers are keeping Kai Jones on a two-way contract this season, so he's not quite on the roster as a standard contract, but he is there present because he didn't get cut. I just wanted to highlight that because we support
yeah,
Kai Jones on this podcast.
absolutely, UT legend, but it's and also summer league legend. But it's interesting because he did pretty good in the preseason games that he was a part of.
Yeah,
So like, why wouldn't they just add him to the roster? Interesting.
so they
Huh.
can play Norman Powell, Amir Coffee. Is he still on that team? I don't know.
Yeah, he's still there.
Great.
I'm pretty sure I saw jerseys for him at the Intuit Dome for
That's
Amir
huge.
Coffee. And I was
Yeah,
like, who wants a coffee
He's
jersey?
a Clippers legend. So
Sure. The Lakers signed Quincy Olivari to a two-way contract, and they waived Colin Castleton.
legend.
Um, yeah, I'm okay with
Doesn't
that.
Colin Castleton wear an undershirt?
Yes,
That makes me like him more. I like when
I
people
know.
wear the undershirts. Um,
It depends. Depends how they look. I didn't love the way he looked with it. Not gonna lie. Why lie? Why
Reggie
lie?
Jackson undershirt wearer.
That's different. He looks cool wearing it. He's a god when he wears it.
The Magic converted two-time slam dunk contest winner Mac McClung on a two-way contract, so he will be somewhere on the roster, on the bench probably, starting the season.
Yeah, what their fifth guard, sixth guard on the
I
roster.
doubt he really gets in games, but he's there.
Yeah, interesting. So funny because he's a good player, and it's so weird. It really shows the talent of the NBA. Like these are good players that are just being waived. It's like, or two ways on the end of rosters
Yeah,
on the bench.
for
So,
sure.
um, the Thunder signed center forward Alex Reese to a non-guaranteed deal.
I like the
You want to tell
story
me
here.
about? Yeah, okay. He quit basketball in 2021 after 4 years at Alabama. He bartended for a year, played abroad, and is now in the NBA.
All of that was on the Shams post. I was like,
Are
okay,
you serious?
yeah,
I love that. Like, oh, really? You couldn't just say like he
told the
played
whole
abroad now in
story.
the NBA. You have to say he bartended.
Yeah,
God, throwing him
he's like,
under
he
the.
played, he quit, he's back, baby.
That's so
And there's a
funny.
reason that they signed a big guy, and we'll get to that.
Yeah,
Taylor Horton Tucker, Lakers legend, Jazz legend, ended up making that 15 spot on the Bulls to start the season. So he'll be on the roster. I got a weird amalgamation of guys over there.
yeah. I don't hate the kind of group. They need to obviously like trade some of those bigger contracts away. But
Yeah.
Lonzo Ball being back is cool. I think we're gonna talk about that, right?
Oh yeah, we are.
Yeah. So yeah, anyways, but yeah, he also nod to Taylor Horton Tucker because he's wearing 22, which is a very cool number. So um
Cool.
it was my favorite number growing up, that's why.
I
Uh
every time I make like a small forward in a 2K game, he wears 22.
it's a good number. It's a
I
solid
like it.
number. Yeah, the Grizzlies are signing Yuki Kawamura to a two-way contract.
Legend.
Uh Legend, he's 5'8", so it's
Yeah.
awesome.
And he's making some nice passes in the preseason to
Did you
Zach Edey mostly.
Did you see there's a clip of both of them checking into the game at the same time? So
He's
you
like
see seven
towering
five
over.
Zach Edey and 5'8" Yuki next to each other and get like check into a game. It is pretty good.
Who's the backup point guard over there? Is it him?
The Grizzlies. Oh wait, I thought you were queuing me up for like the next thing.
No,
Oh,
it could be
I
this
don't.
guy, I guess.
Yeah, maybe it's. I don't know. Without. So Jaw's not on the court. Who would you play? I would probably play Scottie Pippen Jr., right?
I guess.
And has more experience. Well, yeah. I mean, we talked about it. The Grizzlies signed Scottie Pippen Jr. to a standard multi-year NBA contract. He was previously on a two-way contract.
Yeah, he's been pretty good for them for like the last 6 months or so.
Yeah. He has been. So now we're gonna convert to some news. Just a
News.
couple things. I wanted to mention this because on the way this morning I drove home and I saw a big billboard for it. So I just wanted
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
mention this. So we mentioned this in the pod a few times ago, a few episodes ago. But starting five, is a show on Netflix. It just came out, and it follows LeBron James, Anthony Edwards, Domantas Sabonis, Jimmy Butler, and Jason Tatum throughout the 2023-24 season. I've already seen some clips from it. Looks pretty cool. I saw some interviews with Ant talking about playing Kevin Durant in the playoffs. So I am definitely gonna watch that very soon, and I will. Are you gonna watch it, you think?
I don't have Netflix, so
Oh, okay.
we'll
I'll let you
see.
know if it's worth it. I'll let you know if it's good.
Once they started, Netflix started doing the no sharing or whatever, I was
Mm.
like, I'm out on Netflix.
Yeah, literally Saul and I, so I use his Hulu, and he uses my Netflix. Every time we go on Netflix, we just switch the household. You have to go through a
That's
whole thing,
horrible.
but it's whatever. It's fine. I don't want to pay. I still like having it, but I don't want to pay it all for myself. So
Yeah. And you
it's
know
fine.
what? I can't talk about this because it'll take 2 hours, but streaming services with the tiers with ads on like the lowest tier, stop it.
Stop it. Quit it. No ads. Come on. Chill. You know.
Should I go now?
Yeah, yeah, I'm done.
I wanted to ask you this question because I saw it and I thought it was interesting.
Okay.
It was I don't know if it's like exactly the oldest and youngest person like he ever played with, but that's I think kind of what it was leaning towards. So someone he played with at like the very, very beginning of his career that was quite old at the time, and then someone he played with at the very, very end of his career that was quite young at the time. And it was just crazy to think about the gap in generations. So let me give you the
Yeah.
youngest guy. Let me give you some hints, okay? Because you can
Okay.
guess this guy for sure.
I think I know him. I think I
Who?
know who it is.
Who?
Trey Young.
It's not Trey Young. Younger than Trey Young.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
it
Please continue.
is a former Hawk, because that
Okay.
was the last team he was on.
Yeah.
Um, but I'll tell you this. Hawks, Knicks, Blazers, Laker.
Oh, Cam Reddish.
Cam Reddish. Yeah, Cam Reddish.
How young was he when he
I
joined the
think it was like
team?
his rookie year when Vince Carter was on like
Okay.
2018, 2019.
Gotcha.
When he was on that team, yeah. Maybe 2020.
Huh.
And then the oldest player, or maybe not the oldest player, but the player I saw in this thing I saw, former, I'll say Hornets legend. I'll say Space Jam legend. I'll say Short King.
Oh, Muggsy Bogues.
Muggsy Bogues. He played with Muggsy Bogues on the Raptors. I didn't know that.
Muggsy Bogues on the Raptors?
Exactly. Nobody kn
Dude, that's blowing my mind. I did not know that. I thought it was a Hornets lifer.
Right. Yeah, probably one of those like end of the career things.
Space Jam legend. So funny.
Space Jam legend. You knew who I was talking about.
Yeah, well, it's funny because like there's like five NBA players in it besides Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
I know it's Charles Barkley probably has the biggest part, Patrick Ewing, Muggsy Bogues, and there's like a really tall white guy. I forgot
Alan
his name.
Bradley, I think.
Yeah, and then is that it? That might
No,
be it.
there's like one more guy that is probably not as important.
Do you remember?
Nope.
Okay, I don't remember either. Okay, cool. Anyways, but yeah. Oh, that's super. Okay, so okay, interesting.
So what a wide range, right? Muggsy Bogues and Cam Reddish playing with both of those players is nutty.
Yeah, I got one more in me. Right? Doesn't
I
he say
got
that?
yeah,
That's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I got
We're coming back for
one.
year 22.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, he just got inducted in the Hall of Fame. We didn't even
Mhm.
talk about that here.
We did.
Oh, we did. Oh, we did. Right, right, right. But it just happened, the Hall of Fame induction
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the ceremony. Yeah. Pretty cool. Uh,
Next,
do you
I'll
want
do
to?
it.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
do it.
yeah.
You did two with the Grizzlies
Da 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 da. Yeah, the
and
Grizzlies.
the
Yeah.
starting five and the blah blah blah. So now I'll do the Knicks had a tribute video to Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo, and they hosted the Timberwolves in a preseason game. You have any thoughts on that?
I don't like it. It
I don't
doesn't
like
make
it at
any
all.
sense to
In
me.
the preseason, Julius
Also,
Randle
they
wasn't even
didn't.
playing.
I know, and also they sound like they won a championship with them. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
I mean, I'm fine with a standing of like if like when they play during the season, like Julius Randle, and then people are like, hey, Dante, even if he's in the
yeah.
starting lineup. But a whole tribute video is a bit much. I think they probably
I
just
know.
needed something. They wanted to do something.
I remember when James Harden came back to Houston. I can tell you there was not a tribute video. I was at that game.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel
Because the way
like
he left was not on good terms, though.
yeah, this is a little bit different. Also, he was traded, not like he,
Right. Didn't like
yeah.
request out.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, I don't love it. I read that, saw that. I didn't love it.
Yeah, it's weird. If you're gonna do it, it feels like it should be in the regular season at least.
At least
It's like
that.
a week after the trade. Here's our tribute video we threw together last second.
That's a
Strange.
little wild. Yeah.
And then there was also a heated exchange between Dante DiVincenzo and Rick Brunson. Did you see this?
I saw a little bit of it. Um, do we know like what caused it or what they talked about
I
or anything?
I think like Dante DiVincenzo was shooting free throws and was like yelling over at like Tom Thibodeau or something about like,
Yeah.
yeah, you thought I like couldn't do this, like like he was just like trash talking. I don't know. And then like after the game, Rick Brunson was like getting all in his face about it. It was it
Okay.
was strange. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a
Safe
bit
to say
weird.
he didn't want to be traded, I think.
Yeah, also I didn't really understand it too yet because I saw it was at the end of the game. Everyone's kind of I don't think Jalen Brunson played. He's like in street clothes.
Yeah.
And he was like talking with Dante and then he walked over somewhere else and then like you just see them kind of like yelling at each other across people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And like kind of pointing and like you couldn't really tell what they were saying, but yeah, I don't it's a bit strange. I don't know people kind of get worked up about some different things. They choose their battles interestingly. Like it doesn't really make a lot of sense sometimes. Preseason too. You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
whatever.
Yeah, he probably wanted to be a Nova boy still. That's what it seems
I
like.
get it. Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens this season. It'll be interesting. Moving forward, we got some injury news. Let's talk some injuries real quick.
Let's do it.
So we got Paul George, newly on the 76ers, has a bone
Right.
bruise and will be reevaluated in approximately 1 week. And that was on the 15th.
Yeah, so 4 days ago now.
So yeah, so we'll see. Bone bruise, I don't think is too much of a thing. They might want to like st stack the 76ers are well enough equipped that they can kind of stagger him if needed and
Yeah.
um
I
minutes
do want to
restriction
mention
and
I didn't
whatnot.
put this on the docket, but I did read this or hear this. I don't remember.
Yeah.
While we're on the 76ers, Joel Embiid is not going to play back-to-backs this year. Um,
Ever at all?
none. Yeah. He said, I'm not playing any of those this year because he wants to
Regular.
be healthy for the playoffs.
I mean, what do you think?
Um, sure, I guess. It's weird to announce.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird to be like, I'm not doing it. I know he had like an announcement in the preseason where he's like, I'm not focused on individual accolades. I'm focused on the team and
Yeah.
all that. And, this feels like
That's
it's part of that. Um, Honestly, we just probably shouldn't have as many back-to-backs in the NBA. I feel like maybe that's the question. Why do we even have a bunch of back-to-backs?
I agree with that, but I mean if they're home back-to-backs, I think that's fine. I don't think he should play zero back-to-backs, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
he's
think if they're
done.
traveling, I'm like it also I kind of think about this is probably like thinking too big picture, but like I think about the greats that play basketball, right?
Uh-oh.
Do you think they
The
ever
greats.
requested like not to play back to back? No, they just
You
wanted to
think they
play the
used to have a
game.
bunch of back-to-backs?
They definitely did. Not like a bunch, maybe not as much, but like they
I feel like it's
definitely
more common
happened.
now than it used to be. But
Because
also, like, you see those
yeah,
guys and like, half of them can't even like walk correctly. Like
yeah,
their hands
they
are all
like
messed up. Like, so that's part of it too.
I know, and it's probably like a health thing, and I get that. You definitely don't want to be banged up for the postseason for sure, but the regular season matters too, which is I don't like that. There's some. It seems like some teams and players have sentiments that like the regular season doesn't matter, and I don't like that. I love the regular season. Sometimes to me, it's like my favorite part because there's so much of it, you know.
Right.
But anywho, it's not really my place. I don't know what it's like. I don't play basketball like that. So I mean I play for 2.5 hours and I never want to play again for like a while, you know?
Mm.
So interesting. But thanks for bringing it up. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Another thing that is a tragedy. Kawhi Leonard expected to miss an indefinite amount of time to start the season as he rehabs his right knee for sustainability on the court, is what the report said.
Dude, I laughed out loud when I read this.
Oh no.
Because I
Don't
was like, no, obviously don't want it, but I'm like, it was the signs were all there, and they were kind of saying, no, he'll be ready, like maybe like not for the start, but he'll be back soon enough. And of course, they were just like basically avoiding saying he's not going to play for quite a while. So
yeah.
It's unfortunate. It's like, do you think the Clippers messed up on signing Kawhi? They should have kept Paul George.
I think giving Kawhi a 3-year max extension during the middle of last season when he's missed like 4 of their 5 playoffs was questionable.
Yeah.
Um,
What's
yeah,
done is done. But
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I would have maybe had some incentive, some injury related incentives in there. You have to play this amount of games per season to receive this amount of money because there are things like
yeah,
that you can do in an NBA contract. Um,
yeah.
so yeah,
Mm.
I don't know.
Well, it's
Tragic,
done is
tragic
done.
start to the Intuit Dome era.
Yeah, it's so tragic that they called me today twice already to try and get me tickets to go to the opening night game.
Be a part of the
And
wall, baby.
I am gonna be a part of the wall, but I'm gonna be wearing the other team's garb.
Is the wall? I heard about this. Is that the standing section? There's a standing only section, right? You know what I'm talking
I did
about?
not see a standing section there.
Oh,
Yeah,
I,
there's
I,
standing section at SoFi Stadium.
yeah, that's a football field.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, I know there's standing room at SoFi, but into it, I walked around the whole thing. I didn't see standing.
Interesting. I heard about it
Yeah,
listening to a different podcast. So I was like, oh,
maybe.
weird.
I mean, I technically sat where the wall is gonna be during the basketball season.
Yeah,
But maybe when I was there for the concert, like they changed it out, so
right,
maybe
right,
it will
right.
be standing. But when I was there, it was seats everywhere. So I'll let you know when I go to the game, and I'm I hopefully don't start too many
And you're
fights.
standing
You
for
know
2.5 hours.
that doesn't sound fun. And
Uh,
I mean I did pay.
I, yeah, I
I had a
didn't.
gift card, but
What is this, a
still not.
concert? What is general
Yeah,
admission? I'm
I
standing
don't
for
want
this
to
whole thing.
mosh watching a basketball game. Can I just sit, please? Yeah. Max Struess,
This is the one that
Cavaliers.
I just saw, like right before we
Oh,
started.
really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Max Struess, he will miss at least 6 weeks due to a right ankle sprain.
Get
So
well, Maximus.
get well soon.
Karis LeVert, get ready for some starting
This
minutes.
is
Isaac
for
Okoro.
you. This is
Uh,
for you.
One of y'all have to step up, man.
They will.
Another guy, the guy I've been hinting to, Isaiah Hartenstein, suffered a small non-displaced fracture in his left hand. Is going to be reevaluated in 5 to 6 weeks. So that was 2 days ago. This was announced on the 17th. That's a long period of time. Remember when they remember when they said him and Chet were going to start? Yeah, I don't think so. We were right on this podcast.
Yeah.
Even before the injury, but now it's definitely gonna not be him. A tough blow, and that's again why they signed Alex Reese, probably just some more big man
Yeah.
depth.
Makes total sense. You hate to see it. And what I hate, we talked a little bit about injuries. These have all been happening during practice or preseason games. And
Right.
I'm like, can y'all relax? Like chill out just a
Yeah, like
little
none of
bit?
these
Like
have
you're going
even been
hard.
like mid-game. It doesn't seem like anyone gets injured. And it's like, oh, I wonder what happened. It's like just a report comes out of nowhere. It's like this person's injured. It's like, what happened?
Like, what is going on? Yeah, so get well soon. We can't wait to definitely see him on the court with the
Yeah.
Thunder and everything. So get well soon. Another center who not injured, but this is like some pretty cool news that you brought up. So Donovan Clingan, rookie this year,
Again,
he managed 14 points, 20 rebounds, and 4 blocks against the Jazz in 24 minutes of play. That's pretty good. That's pretty incredible.
I don't know how he fell to 7. I don't
Yeah,
understand.
yeah. Well, Blazers get rid of DeAndre Ayton and start this guy already. You
Yeah.
know.
Where do we put 8? D tier? Dominating? Is that, I don't
Yeah,
remember.
I think we
Put him
did
pretty
put him in
low.
D tier. Yeah, yeah, we did put him pretty low. That's
But
what
yeah,
happens when you don't play with passion. Just saying.
excited to see, hopefully he can get some run. They can get
Yeah,
rid of the vets and such. Um,
absolutely.
other exciting news. Lonzo Ball returned to basketball on Wednesday this week versus the Timberwolves. Hit his first three, his first shot of the game, went right in from the corner. Bench was celebrating, the crowd was celebrating. I think Zach LaVine gave him his jersey after the game. It was like, it was all kinds of stuff. Very nice
Yeah,
to see. I mean, he last played January 14th of 2022. That is 2.5 years ago.
yeah.
That Lonzo Ball played basketball. Of course, he had a whole knee transplant, cartilage surgery. I mean, he couldn't walk for like
Crazy.
some amount of time. So this is great to see. I think it was getting to the point where people are like, he's basically retired.
Yeah.
Um, but he's back, baby, and that's so exciting. And I hope he
No,
stays on the
I
court.
I I do too. I love that, and he really once he went to Pelicans, he kind of made a name for himself, went to the Bulls. He had a really good like first half of that 2021-22
Those were the
season,
one seed.
literally. And was shooting like 40% from three. And so he played 10 minutes in that game and it was 4 for 6 from the field, which is like pretty good after like
Yeah,
not playing for forever. So great to see him on the court.
it's like a Klay
Definitely made me
Thompson kind
happy.
of story, I guess,
Yeah. Hopefully, I mean, we'll see what the Bulls do, but it's just nice to see him on the court. Basketball's better when everyone that can play is playing. So,
for sure.
this was yeah.
We talk about players like Ben Simmons, Kawhi, even with the injuries, and it's like, oh, are they coming back? Are they coming back? But I do feel like something like this for Lonzo, the mental aspect of it had to be kind of scary too. Like you haven't played in so long, and people have been talking about you for years. Coming back, and even if like you perform, even if you come back and like play badly, it's like, oh God, what is like the narrative? What does it become? So I'm glad that he had
Yeah,
a good start to the preseason. I'm glad they played him in the preseason rather than just like bringing him out
me too.
randomly in the regular season.
Yeah, I love that. And also, well, it's also you have to be kind of scared because like Chicago's a pretty big market. So it's also like eyes are on you. Like if you're in Charlotte and this happens, you're like, whatever. Like people don't really pay attention to those smaller teams, you know?
Right.
So a lot of people talking and whatnot. Do you think he starts for them?
No, probably not. I feel like they're gonna kind of ease him in.
Yeah.
He'll probably still be limited in terms of his minutes, at least to start the season. I don't think he'll be, I don't think he's going to roll out there 36 minutes a game right away.
Come
Um,
on.
but he could probably run a pretty solid bench unit.
Yeah. No, I think that'd be really exciting to see. Um, Last but not least, before we kind of get to our predictions for standings and awards, Giannis Antetokounmpo released a statement saying that he could be traded if the Bucks don't win another championship.
Yeah.
This I don't think this is the first time he kind of said something along these
He says
lines.
something like this every year.
Yeah. So I don't know, like, how do you anticipate? What do you think? Do you think he'll be a lifer?
Um, Probably not. I just it feels like his personality is not geared towards the one franchise thing. It seems like, he wants to constantly contend. And, to the Bucks' credit, they've done a lot to get players around him. They got Drew, won that championship, and when they thought Drew was no longer going to do it, they decided to move him for Damian Lillard. So, there was that. And then um, I think this is kind of like oh, this is actually the opposite. It's like, we might start rebuilding and then they're gonna trade me. It's like he's like trying to like make himself not be the bad guy if they go down that route. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's strange.
It's a bit strange. I don't love it, but I also understand, if you want to compete and if you just don't see that. I will say, like, I think it's a lot easier for like when you look at other situations, like Damian Lillard asking to be traded from Portland makes sense because they were literally drafting number two. They could have like traded that out and try to like contend. So, but with the Bucks, like they're trying, like they're doing a lot for him. So we'll see. I think the season's gonna go a lot. I feel like whenever the season doesn't end as well as they want, then he releases something like this, and then next year they'll do a little bit better, and then he'll feel like I'm great, and then before the end of the
I
year,
love
or before,
Milwaukee.
yeah, and then before the season starts, they'll say something along the lines of like, yeah, like I'm totally open to being moved. It's like it's interesting. He's an interesting player. I think it's kind of polarizing to me because like he seems like he's so carefree and like just like wants to have fun, but then he's on the court and he gets like really like in your face, like fired up, and I don't know. I don't know. It's interesting attitude when it comes to a basketball player.
Bucks GM must be stressed as heck
Yeah,
dealing with this every season. It's like,
yeah, but you know what's not stressful?
what's that?
Predicting the season standings and
I
awards.
beg to differ. Is a little stressful.
Dude, this was more stress. This is stressing me out more than last year
Yeah,
for sure.
I will say this. I will say for I think at least the standings predictions, putting teams into tiers or groups, that part I think I had pretty much down. But then once we
Hmm.
got to that, and there were like two or three teams that I was like kind of all viewed similarly, I was like, okay, who do I put, at this seed, and then who's next, then who's next. That part got pretty tough for me.
Yeah, I
The
agree.
awards were whatever.
More, yeah. I kind of just went with my gut. Like now I'm looking at it now, and like I don't know if I stand with it, but it is like fine.
Yeah, I
It's
mean, I
something gonna
looked at
be
my thing
kind of a
last
like.
year. I kind of went off of that, and I did look at every team's over under, which I will say I did my entire standings before looking at it.
Yeah,
And it lines up with it fairly well, which I thought was
nice.
interesting. So I was like, oh, okay. I didn't look at this to determine how I was going to do it. I just looked at it after.
Yeah,
But yeah, it looked pretty good. The awards, I think like at least my number one pick for each one, I feel pretty good about. The two and three, some of them I really had to find somebody. I was like, okay, I need to figure out who else I would put here. I know you mentioned maybe having too many people for some of your awards.
yeah. Same.
I had the opposite problem where I was like, I don't know who to put next. I got this
I,
guy,
I
and then I'm like, I don't know.
I'll mention some of the awards that I had some trouble with when we get to them. But yeah, some I'm like still like not exactly sure, but we'll get there. So how do you want to do this? Do you want to go east and we each say like our what we had last and then just go from there? West go from last? How do you want to do it?
I think it would be better to start with the East because I think the West is a little more interesting, a little more
For
competitive.
sure. I agree.
Um, and I think we should go 15 to 1 and alternate. Like I'll do my 15, then you'll do your 15, so on and
Then
so
I do
forth.
my and then Snake, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
15. Yeah, cool, cool, cool. Let's do it. You ready?
All right, I'm ready.
You start. You got this. Let's do it.
Okay, so for the 15th seed, the worst team in the Eastern Conference and probably the NBA. Yeah, I was between two teams here. And I ended up going with the Washington Wizards at the
Me
15
too.
seed. Yeah,
Easy. There we go.
their
Yeah.
over under, I'll reveal as we go through this,
Yeah.
21 and a half.
What does
Uh,
that mean? Can you Oh,
so
so like that's how many games they're predicted to win.
yes, so 21 and a half. If you take the under, that means you're predicting them to win 21 or less games. If you're taking the over,
So
22 or
bad.
more games. So that's a very low number.
That's so
It's
bad.
actually not the lowest. It's the second lowest. But
Interesting.
21 and a half. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not a good team.
No.
I feel like we don't have to spend a lot of time on it. It's like they're kind of
Yeah.
a disaster right now. So
Yeah, they're not good. I had a really interesting conversation with my dad, which I will bring up just because it's funny. I remember I was talking to my dad, and I was like, "The Washington Wizards are going to be the worst team in the NBA," and he goes, "But they have Valanciunas. Isn't he going to like lead them to the
he's a
playoffs?" And I was like,
goes out
"When's the
there,
last
averages
time you?"
28 and 12. Like
I was like, also that wouldn't get them anywhere, not even the play-in. I feel I was like, it's like, Dad, when's the last time you watched the Washington Wizards play? He's like, I don't think I ever have. It's like, yeah. So, like, I know you like him as a player, but just because he is what I think it was a C tier center, like he's a good center. He
yeah.
doesn't like that does not you don't one player does not lead a team to the playoffs, anyways. So I thought it was just funny.
Let me ask you
Um,
this:
okay.
Who's the Wizards coach?
I forgot his name. It's not Scott Brooks.
It hasn't been Scott Brooks for a minute.
I know, I know, I know. And then it's one of the assistants, right? Didn't they just like
Yeah, it's Brian Keefe.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not jealous of that job at all. I'll tell you that much. It's gonna be tough. But yeah, so I had Wizards too for 15th. Um
Nice.
14th,
Yeah.
I have the Brooklyn Nets.
Me too.
Oh, yeah, the Brooklyn Nets they got their picks back, so they're definitely trying to lose the Cooper Flab sweepstakes, as everyone's gonna be calling it. They have a lot of interesting guys. They're gonna move a couple of their more veteran players like Dorian Finney-Smith. I feel like Cam Johnson's probably will be moved as well, hopefully. Um,
Yeah.
kind of because
Right.
they could be on a contender. They're kind of what the teams are looking for. But besides that, like
The
they'll be
Cam Thomas
fun.
show, baby.
Yeah, I think they'll still be fun. Like I'll watch if they come to town. Tickets are pretty cheap. I saw them last year. It was a fun game. Um, so but yeah, they're not going to be good for sure. That's my 14th. What do you
Yeah.
got 14th?
I had the Nets at 14 as well.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Um, Over under 19 and a half. So that's the
That's
lowest.
that I don't think that's almost impossible, I feel like.
Um, there are teams that won less than this last season. I think the Pistons and Wizards both had under 19 wins last season.
Almost I mean, 2 is that's it's bad, but anyways, who's 13?
Yeah, 13. Okay, this is, me. Every year I have some bold takes. Last year was the
Okay.
Grizzlies, and I was right. I was right on the
Okay.
Grizzlies.
Yeah, what's this
Um,
one?
And I don't think this is super bold, but it's really just two teams I think could have slotted in here at 13 that I do expect to be bad. But I took a team that I would consider as mid and really predicted a fall off here. And that's
I
the
have I have a
Chicago Bulls. I have it 13.
wow, you have a
Yeah.
13. Okay, that's
That's
not
low.
crazy, but it's low. It's not crazy, but it's
It's
low.
pretty low. You know, they have Zach LaVine, they have Vucevic, Kobe White could have a jump. Patrick Williams is kind of whatever. They have Josh Giddey now, you know. Billy Donovan is still the coach, which I don't know if I like that or not. But I just feel like trading DeRozan for basically nothing, trading Caruso, it feels like the team wants to maybe start rebuilding, even though their GM constantly says that we're not rebuilding. Yet they keep trading their old players for young players or nothing. So it just feels like this is a losing year. I don't know. It feels like this would be the year to kind of lose. There's not. I don't think there's a ton of teams trying to tank currently. You know, I feel like that happened a lot for Wemby, obviously. And then last year the draft class was kind of weak. This upcoming draft class is supposed to be pretty strong at the top. So I feel like maybe this is the year they decide to take that route. They tried to get rid of Levine last year, couldn't do it. They still have Vucevic, who's whatever. You know, he's not. I don't think he's like going to give them a bunch of regular season wins or
Yeah,
anything. But yeah, their over under is actually 27.5, so it's not super high. I just think,
yeah.
you know, let the Josh Giddey offense flow, get Lonzo acclimated back to basketball, develop Kobe White. It just feels like a year they should try to make their guys a little better rather than focus on wins. So maybe that results in a season like this. But I do
Yeah, and
admit
let
it is low.
yeah, and also gets the Modest Buzelis some run
Yes,
time
didn't
too.
even mention.
Yeah. I did not have this is your 13, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I had the Pistons.
Okay.
Just because I think they're not going to be as bad as they were last year, but I still think there's some things they need to work out, obviously. Um, but I don't know what else to say really. I think they're still working things out.
They're
I think
young, they're
next year,
developing. Yeah,
yeah, I think I really like last year, I think I put them like 11 and that kind of blew up. And like I don't think they're gonna be as good. I think maybe next year, depending on the like I think they're slowly kind of moving up and
yeah.
eventually they'll make it into the play-in because they have a good core of
The
people and
bottom of
like
the East
they
is
got
so
shooting.
bad.
It's so interestingly bad. It really is like there's a three-tier drop off basically.
Yeah,
There's like teams obviously in the bottom, play in maybes, and then for sure like top.
right.
But that was my 13. 12, I think this is kind of a hot take.
Okay.
I'll say this is kind of a hot take. I have the Charlotte Hornets
Okay.
because I predict that they're not going to be good and Lonzo
L
Ball is going to be out again a whole
LaMelo.
bunch. Did I say I meant LaMelo?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
You
he's
aren't
going to be out
the
again.
pod LaMelo hater, so that doesn't really surprise me.
It's not surprising, but I've seen a lot of people about excited about the Hornets this year, and I just don't see it. I really don't.
Yeah,
I think they're going to be pretty bad, and I don't know. Once they pick a direction, I think that's kind of been their issue, and like health as well. So, they have players I like though. They have Brendan Miller, I like Mark Williams. We don't talk about is it Nick Smith, right?
Nick
Junior. He's like
Richards
the
and Nick Smith.
no.
Those are both
That's I'm
players on
talking.
that roster.
I was saying Nick Smith is someone I
You said
remember
Mark
like
Williams,
summer
so I was
league.
thinking of Sinners.
Yeah, I didn't know. I thought Nick Richards was Nick Smith for forever, and now I realize they're two different people.
They actually have two entirely
Two
different
Nick.
humans
Yeah, but they have some fun, like interesting young players, but
for
I think
sure.
they're going to be the 12th seed.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a fine prediction. My 12 seed, this is where I have the Pistons. So
Okay.
just one spot higher than you. 25.5 is their over under. Um,
Pistons. Okay.
yeah. So it is lower than the Bulls, but I just thought, I'm really hoping for somebody on that roster to kind of pop out this year, whether it's Cade finally stepping into more of a, stardom role, Jaden Ivey kind of getting his footing, Sar Thompson developing more, Jalen Duren, like somebody, they've all been fine, but I think they need like a big jump from somebody.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hoping happens this year. And I think, another thing for me, Monty Williams clearly didn't want to be there. He just took all that money and ran with it. JB Bickerstaff, after getting fired from the Cavs job, I feel like does want to coach and has something to prove. So that's why I'm thinking they'll be better this year, but still the 12 seed, still pretty low.
Yeah. I think
Uh,
those are all really good points. Should have mentioned this coach for sure. It's going to be better.
yeah. And then at the 11th seed, I do have the Charlotte Hornets. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm not predicting them to make the play in this year. I think LaMelo, if he plays, will be fine. the thing I'm most excited about, of course, is Brandon Miller.
Yeah.
Uh, really proved me wrong with the draft pick. I'll always mention that. They have a new coach as well. Charles Lee from the Bucks assistant, or sorry, the Celtics assistant
Yeah,
coach.
Celtics, yeah.
Um, and he was a pretty good guy over there. So I think they'll mostly be focused on developing the younger guys, but they do have the LaMelos, they have Miles Bridges, unfortunately.
Yeah.
They have those kind of established players that I think can help them get some regular season wins. Um, yeah, so that's where I
Yeah.
have them here at 11.
Makes total sense. I have the Atlanta Hawks at 11.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
They didn't really do much in the offseason. It's just gonna go back to Trae Young being the dominant ball handler. And I mean, you still have players I like. Bogdanovich is good. I like Onyeka Okongwu a lot, but Capella's still there. DeAndre Hunter is fine. Like he's not turning into like what you expected of him.
Right.
You have interesting players like Jalen Johnson, super fun player to watch, and he'll be back healthy starting the season, which is cool to see. Zachary Ricochet, which is going to be, something to see, number one overall pick. But I really think this is a year they're like, okay, we are not going to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals again anytime soon, looking like
Yeah.
this. So we gotta figure something out. Something's got to change, or we got to pick a direction or something. I don't know if that means moving past Trae Young or just trying to retool around him. I don't know. But yeah, I think they're gonna be 11.
Fair. What about your 10?
Oh, right, I forgot. I do my 10. So 10 is where I have the Bulls.
Okay.
Yeah, just because I think I have a feeling, I have a feeling that Vucevic will be moved, but
God,
Levine will
I
end
hope
up
so.
stick around, and then he'll get moved at the end of the offseason next year.
Okay.
So I feel like there'll still be competitive enough. You know what I mean? To be like in the play-in and then probably get out in the play-in and not make it to the playoffs. But that's why I have the 10th seed. And I also like the young players. I like Modest Buzelis a lot, and I think Kobe White was really great last year and will contribute a lot. So that's why I have him a little bit higher. But you made a lot of good points. I wouldn't be surprised they don't make it to the play-in.
Yeah, it's just like they barely made the plan last year with DeMar DeRozan. So
Yeah.
that's part of the issue. My 10th
Yeah.
spot, this is where I have the Toronto Raptors.
Mm.
Team I actually really like. I think their over under is only 30 and a half, so it's actually only one win above the Hornets, which I feel like is a little disrespectful. I think I like the Raptors
Yeah.
team. Scotty Barnes has been an all-star. I
He's
like Emmanuel
great.
quickly. RJ Barrett has been pretty good for them since getting traded there. A lot of assets over here that I like. Ted is not high praise. It's not like I think they're going to do anything crazy this season, but I do think they'll be respectable. Probably fight for a play-in spot. It's pretty
Yeah.
much what I see for them this upcoming season. And then the 9 seed is where I have my Atlanta Hawks. That's where
Okay.
I have the Hawks prediction.
Okay,
And that
for
was a
sure.
pretty clear line of demarcation for me. The 9 seed, everything eight and up was like, okay, these teams are clearly not in this tier. But I do think, back to Trae Young being the primary ball handler and leading that team in the Eastern Conference Finals all those years ago, he unto himself is one of those players that, as we neither of us, I think, love the way he plays or anything like that, but he will lead a team to like a top 10 offense. That's just kind of what happens every year. So I could definitely see them getting some wins, especially because they're going to be playing teams like the Wizards and
Yeah.
the Hornets and teams like that. And I just think they'll have kind of a leg up on those teams. They're over under, by the way, 35 and a half,
Mm. Okay.
just higher than all the other teams we talked about so far.
Gotcha. Um, yeah, pretty clear line as well. I have the Raptors at number 9.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like you mentioned, I like the Raptors quite a bit. I think they're always more competitive than you expect.
Hmm.
And I like their coach a lot too. And I think they're definitely not. I don't think they have like hella picks or anything. So they will be, playing to win essentially. Not that they will win a ton of games, but they're going to be trying more than other teams. And yeah, I like a lot of their young players. And I think they're going to be one of the more exciting teams in a few years. Like right now, they're still like developing, getting younger players. But yeah, I like them at number 9. And then number 8,
Dun-dun-dun.
Miami Heat.
Okay.
They just didn't make any moves. So I think as if they have a healthy season, I think Jimmy Butler is going to be playing to have something to prove because he didn't get an extension or anything this offseason. Terry Rozier will be back and hopefully a full season and hopefully healthy will be good for them. They will win games when you least expect it. They're gonna wear their awful jerseys that say Heat culture. Tyler Hero has a buzz cut. I mean,
It is an atrocity. The buzz cut is bad.
yeah, but they're still gonna win games and probably make it into the playoffs like they always kind of do
Yeah.
because got such a great coach. So,
Yeah, speaking of the Heat, some news here that I just saw. Heat
oh,
legend, Lakers legend, Cole Swider, two-way NBA contract with the Pistons.
oh, with the
And with the
Pistons.
Pistons.
Okay.
And Alondas Williams is a name I recognize because I feel like we saw him on the Cavs summer league roster last year.
Hmm.
Uh, two-way contract with the Pistons. So a couple of two ways real
Cool.
quick to throw in there. But
Well,
I also had,
Cole.
huh? What?
I say Cole Swider's a shooter, so good for the Pistons. There you go.
Duh. Yeah, I also had the Heat at the eight seed. It felt like the easiest placement on this list, maybe. Like they were right in between the top half and the bottom half. I was like, yeah, this is where the Heat
Literally.
go, I guess. Over under 44.5, so much higher than any other team we talked about so far. But yeah, we have the Jimmy thing with Pat Riley, and he actually came to media day looking normal. Feels like he has something to prove this year. You have Bam coming off the Olympics. He's still been shooting threes in the preseason, so I'm interested to see what that looks like. Yeah, like you said, the Heat just always find a way, and I'm sure they'll find
Yeah.
a way again to be relevant, but not quite as good as these other teams.
Okay. We got number 7.
Yeah, I would say this next
Oh,
three-team stretch for me, hardest stretch maybe of the whole list. The 5, 6, and 7 in the East. I had three
okay.
teams that clearly belonged in 5, 6, and 7, and I switched the order a million times. So I don't love any of this.
Okay.
So I don't know if this is a hot take. At 7, I have the Cavs all the way down
Okay.
here. It feels
Okay.
low. It feels low. They were the 4 seed last year. Um, they changed coaches to Kenny Atkinson, who I really like, and I've talked about how I really like Kenny Atkinson. You had the health issues last year with Garland and Jared Allen, and they still managed to be the 4 seed, but they actually played better when Garland and Jared Allen were out. So I don't really know what that means. I don't know if that means that this is a better team with them or not. I still don't know. The Cavs really confused me.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to do with them. I don't know what their season will be like. If they finish as the 7th seed like I predicted, I won't be that surprised. If they somehow finish as like the 2 seed, I wouldn't be that surprised either. So their like range of outcomes feels like kind of wild for me. But I don't know. It feels like something isn't quite clicking there as the other two teams I'll mention afterwards. Um, so that's where I
Yeah.
have them here at 7.
Um, at number 7, I have the Cleveland Cavaliers. There we
Oh,
go.
oh,
Okay.
wow.
A lot of the same things you said. I feel like they always end up with like injury issues. And I mean, now Max Strus is out for 6 weeks. So it's like, all
Yep.
right, there we go. That's one. We'll see what else happens. But yeah, I agree. I think having a new coach is going to be better in the long run, but I think it will kind of hurt them in the beginning because they're going to be having a new system, figuring out new
Right.
things. So, I think they're at 7, not because they're bad, but because just the other teams will be a bit more like stable and like what they're doing and how it's going to be run and just going to be a
Yeah.
bit more well-oiled machine and less people out all the time and stuff. So that's why I have the Cavs at 7. Number 6, I have the Orlando Magic.
Mm.
A team that found its identity this last year, defensive, hard-nosed, with Jalen Suggs. You got Jonathan Isaac. You add KCP in the mix. They're going to be better than last year. I know they were the 5th seed last year. I just think some other teams got a little bit better, and they'll be better in the regular season. But the Orlando Magic are going to be really good. And I mean, this is the first time I've ever been excited to see the. I'm kind of a fan now. Never really cared for them before, so it's cool to see. But I think the 6th seed for them.
Okay. Yeah, my 6 seed was the Orlando Magic. I had them right there as well. The defense, I think, will be really good. Of course, they signed KCP, big addition in the offseason for their shooting. Their starting lineup is just going to be huge and harass people. And I think the way they play is optimal for winning regular season games, I imagine. Um, so yeah, I think that it's a year of continuity for them with the addition of KCP, and I think that'll lead to a relatively successful season.
Yeah.
And then at number 5, I have the
Just say
Indiana
it.
Pacers.
There you go.
The other team of the three that I had them, the Cavs and the Magic, kind of all in the same tier. Pacers, I ended up with at 5 originally when I did this. They were at my 7, and then I don't know, somehow they ended up at 5. I don't know. I switched things around. Of course, this made the Eastern Conference Finals. This is a big deal. I think I thought about, how they acquired Siakam only halfway through last season, how Tyrese Halliburton was injured for so much of the season, things like that. Those more time with Siakam, less injuries for Halliburton, they probably finish as a higher seed. So I think that's probably why they ended up at 5 for me. And that playoff experience, I think, will also help them down the line, just as a franchise. And by the way, Pacers, Magic, Cavs all have 47.5 as their over under. So
We're so good. We're so good because I also had the Pacers. Same thing you mentioned. I think they're going to be higher because they have Siakam. They got him. They had him. They're gonna have him for the whole year.
right,
Halliburton will be healthy. The other players are so much more confident than the beginning of the season of last year. Nimhart is a confident player now. Ben Shepherd, Aaron Nesmith, like all these young guys now are like, we have the experience. We can win games. We can make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. We have a shot to make it to the finals.
right.
So love to see that for them. And yeah, they just made good additions. Or I mean, they only really added James Wiseman, I think, and they lost Jalen Smith, so not really a big thing.
Right.
But continuity will be their friend as well
They'll
this
get
year.
Mathurin
So
back as well. Should have mentioned that.
yes, totally, definitely
That's
worth
another thing I
mentioning.
forgot about when I had him at 7. I was like, I forgot this guy was on this team.
I totally forgot. I forgot he was 00. I was doing the Pirtle a few days ago. Like, who is 00? Who's
Right.
on this? Number 4. So,
Dun-dun-dun.
and the top 4, like we know who. Like, this the order might be a little weird, but we
Yeah.
know who's there. Number 4, I have the New York Knicks.
Okay.
Yeah, I have them at 4 because I know they. So you gotta. Your biggest question mark with them is the center position with Mitchell Robinson.
Hmm.
You answer that with Cat, so pretty cool. But then like Mitchell Robinson has injury issues, sure, but then Cat plays. But then who's like your backup? Jericho Sims,
Precious.
Um,
Don't disrespect Precious Achua like that.
he's okay. This is what
Playoff
I hate,
legend.
dude. He plays as a center, but they have him listed as a forward, and he's
He's
6'8". I'm like,
he's like 6'8", yeah.
it's like put him as forward center. Stop saying he's a forward if he's playing center all the
Yeah,
time.
but he
Anyways,
doesn't shoot or anything. So he definitely
yeah,
plays like a
I
center.
like Precious, but anyways, he's 6'8". That's all I gotta say about that. But
Short man.
when I think of just like the other teams, I just think the depth isn't there as much as the others. But the Knicks are going to be very good. They're going to be. It's funny to have them at the 4th because they ended up with the 2nd seed last year, right? But I think they're going to be better.
Um,
They were 2nd seed
yeah,
last year.
you're right.
Yeah. But they're going to be 4th. But I think they're going to be better than last year.
Hmm.
And I love the additions of course, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, which was acquired at the deadline last year, and Jalen Brunson is gonna be playing great like he has been for them. So I have him at the 4th seed.
Okay.
Yeah.
My 4 seed is different. It is the Bucks. I have at the 4. Um, yeah, for me, the Bucks just kind of ended up here for a couple of reasons. Primarily being that they're old. You know, Damian Lillard is 34, 35. I do think he'll have a bounce back season after kind of struggling a bit last year. I mean, he was an all-star, but he wasn't like Damian Lillard like he
Yeah.
had been on the Trailblazers. Chris Middleton got surgery on both ankles in the offseason. There's an interview where they asked him about being injury prone. He said, "I don't think I'm injury prone." I was like, "That's funny." Um,
Yeah. No, I
Brooke
agree.
Lopez is like 38. He's really old. And then you're still. I do like the signings of Gary Trent, Prince, Delon Wright, but they're still probably going to have too many Pat Connaughton minutes for my liking and things like that as the season progresses. And I think with what happened last year, getting knocked out in the first round because Giannis was injured, maybe he kind of takes a breather a little bit this year. He doesn't quite go. He's one of those players that he's going 100% when he's on the court. So maybe he gets rested here and there, things like that. Kind of where they ended up at the 4 seed for me. They're over under, by the way, 50.5.
Okay.
And then
Wait, what's the Knicks over under?
I'll get there when I talk about the Knicks.
What about you said? I was gonna
Uh,
mention it. You were
no,
gonna.
the
That's fine.
Knicks is 53.5.
Okay.
My
I
third
think
seed, though,
yes.
the Sixers. I had the Sixers in the 3 spot. Uh, the primary reason for me for this one was injury concerns in terms of me trying to tie break between them and the Knicks as my 2 and 3. Um, because you have Paul George, who is already injured and has been injured throughout his career. Embiid, of course, didn't play most of last season because of injury. And then aside from that, you have Maxey, who doesn't really get injured, but he's kind of the only guy left if the other two have problems. And yeah, I think that again, kind of like I mentioned with the Bucks, this team will mostly focus on staying healthy for the playoffs and making a long playoff run. And that may mean sacrificing some regular season wins here and there, resting key players and certain matchups and things like that. Um, their over under is 52.5. So
Okay.
I think 3 seed. I mean, they were seven. They were the 7 seed last year, and that was because Embiid missed a lot of time. So if something like that happens again, that's why I couldn't put them above the top 2 teams I have here.
Okay. I get it. I at 3, I have the Bucks. I thought that, another year, Damian Lillard and Giannis will be better for them, and I like the signings that they have, and I think they know their identity. They're going to win a lot of regular season games. I think that's just the well-oiled engine of Milwaukee Bucks. So that's why I kind of had them over the Knicks because they have a lot of new additions. It might be kind of getting used to playing with each other and whatnot, but sometimes talent is talent, and you don't need to kind of worry about like chemistry immediately. But that's why I have the Bucks a little bit higher. And then at 2, I have the Sixers.
Right.
Because I like their depth a lot, and I think even when Paul George is out, Embiid will play. When Embiid's out, Paul George will like they will always have an all-star on the court, and also Tyrese Maxey will be pretty consistent.
Right.
Um, and I mean, you got Caleb Martin, Oubre, Reggie Jackson. Need I say less? Need I say more, not less?
Need I say
um,
less? It's funny.
so I think they're going to be a really good regular season team. Although I did do this before finding out that Embiid won't play back to back, which is crazy to me. Makes zero sense.
Right.
Um, just to announce it makes zero sense to me. But even if they're home, it's like you just went home. Whatever. But yeah, that's what I think.
That's fair. Yeah, I have the Knicks at my 2. Um, Brunson, Cat, Josh Hart, OG McHale. I think there is less injury concern here. McHale, is the Iron Man. Cat does miss here and there. Brunson has very minor misses though, never like big, month-long spans and things like that. The depth
Mhm.
is definitely a little bit of concern for surviving the regular season with the Tom Thibodeau rotations, but I do think this team will do a good job of it. They have like 8 or 9 guys. I'm kind of fine with them playing on a nightly basis, so
Yeah,
I think they'll be pretty good. I think the way their team is set up is kind of built to win regular season games almost. So yeah, that's why I have them at 2 seed. I'm very excited to see what their team looks like this year. And they were the 2 seed last year with Randall missing half the season. So,
pretty good.
yeah, feels like they should be able to secure that again. And then of course at the 1 seed, the Boston Celtics, surprising no one. They were 14 games over every other team last year. Um, and that was without Porzingis, and they're going to be without Porzingis again. And it doesn't really matter because I think they're just going to be another wins machine with their top guys coming back, everyone coming back, just all continuity there. Their over under is 58.5.
Okay. I see that. I had the Celtics as first as well. They know how to win games, and they will win games and get ready for the postseason. Um,
Yeah, not much to talk
well,
about there.
yeah, just barring injuries. Hopefully, they don't have to deal with any more injuries besides Porzingis.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, pretty similar. I
yeah,
think just a little bit like the very bottom and then the very top, which makes sense to me. So
yeah, pretty good. Nothing too much to gripe about there.
yeah, agreed. Um,
You want to take on the West for us first?
we hopping in the West. All right.
Yeah, let's
Going to
do
the
it.
Western Conference, who I have as the worst team in the Western Conference is
Dun-dun-dun.
the Portland Trailblazers.
Oh,
Oh, because they are gonna not be good. They don't have an identity. They don't know what they're doing. No, no, they don't know what they're doing, but they are
uh,
figuring things out. They have a lot of young players that are going to be fun to watch and good, but they just don't have a direction yet. they're trying to see who's going to stick around. I like Anthony Simons. Scoot's going to be better. You know, I got Donovan Clingan who's doing double doubles like in crazy in the preseason. You find a way to move Jeremy Grant,
Please,
DeAndre Ayton, get some draft
please.
capital, some good young guys. I'm like, it'll be a fun team this year. They will be better moving forward. But this is the year they're the worst. That's what I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I have the Blazers here at 15 as well. Yeah, it's gonna be a let the young guys play and be horrible, like they did at the end of last season. I mean, some of those games
Hmm.
were just ugly. They were getting absolutely blown out, playing players I'd never heard of. It was awesome. So probably more of that this season, tanking for the top guys in this upcoming
Yeah.
draft. Um, yeah, I think they're clearly at 15 for me. There's just no one on that team that's like they don't have a guy. Like
Yeah.
Anthony is, he can be that here and there. I think Jeremy Grant is a fine kind of role player. Um, Looking forward to seeing Denny Dia in a different team. Um,
Yeah. Good
that'll be
pull.
fun.
Yeah.
But it went from the Wizards to the Blazers. Not great situation so far in his NBA career. Their over under though is 21.5, which is the same as the Wizards. So they are projected to be pretty bad.
There you go. What do you got? 14.
14 is where I have the Utah Jazz
The
because I
Utes.
think they're gonna try to be bad. I think this year they will not do the thing where they like are okay in the first half of the season. Like, wait, we're supposed to be tanking. This year, I think they'd be like, oh, we did tank. I mean, Cooper Flag, Utah, that's the place, right? That's white guy central over there in
I know
Utah.
for
So
real, literally.
it's the perfect place for him. They have marketing, so that's why they could be a little higher than this. I guess it depends on how much they play him.
They have a guy. Yeah.
But aside from that, it's just they're just throwing out a bunch of random young guys. They drafted 3 rookies this year. They still have Keontae George, Taylor Hendricks, Walker Kessler. They just got a mosh posh of young guys. So I think they're gonna maybe just kind of experiment this year, figure out who they got, who they like, who they want to keep around for the future. And I think that's gonna lead to a lot of losses. Their over under
Yeah.
though is 29.5. So
That's
it's
pretty
actually
high.
it,
Yeah.
it is the second lowest in the West, 29 and a half.
Yeah.
It's higher than the Wizards, Nets, Bulls, Pistons, tied with the Hornets. So the East is just that bad.
Yeah. At 14, I had the Jazz as well. I had them above the Blazers because they do have that guy, Laurie Markkinen. They have
Yeah.
an all-star. But yeah, agreed. They're just going to be playing a lot of young guys. It'll be fun to watch. I'll go to some games because it'll be cheap here. It'll be fun to kind of see what they're doing, see some Keontae George and stuff like that. At 13, I have the San Antonio Spurs,
Yeah.
which I feel like a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, but Wimby, they have Wimby, now they have Chris Paul, and they got some other people, and like,
All
yeah,
four
but they're
people that listen are gonna be really
all
mad.
four people are gonna be so mad at me. But the thing is, they don't have anything else. They got a great coach. You got cool young guys, Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sohan. Not really. I'm not really a big fan of, to be honest.
Wow.
At least from what I've seen. Um,
Hater.
but yeah, they're just not gonna be as good. They're still like they're gonna be good in a few. They're gonna be very good a few years from now. But what they've done is going to be good development for that core, the Cells, the Johnsons, the Wimbys. That's what you need to worry about. You got Chris Paul to kind of, and Stephon Castle, who's going to be fun to see, fun to watch, getting a little bit mentorship from Chris Paul. So they're going to be good, but not this year. So I have them at 13.
Yeah, 13. It's where I had the Bulls on the other side. So this is my hot take spot this year.
Okay.
Because right here is where I have the Clippers, all the way down at 13. And this was actually before this Kawhi announcement, so I just it was really low on the Clippers. I just don't think that what's the point? What's the point? What are we doing over there in Los
Yeah.
Angeles? I don't know. Not winning, probably. Their over-under is 40.5, I should mention. Under. I'm taking the under.
Under
Uh,
100. Are you kidding me? 40 is crazy.
yeah. I mean,
I'll put money on that.
they're
Damn.
they're I don't know who they're running. I mean, it may have changed since the Kawhi news was announced, but yeah, I just don't know. They just don't have a lot to be excited about. Like I don't want to watch this team at all. Like I have
Yeah.
no desire to watch them play basketball this year.
Yeah, I want to watch Kawhi. Oh, he's not playing. Oh, then I'm not gonna watch Terrence Mann
Terrence
and
Mann
Ivica
season.
Zubac. Like, I mean, I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna enjoy watching them, but I'm definitely gonna be rooting for the other team
Not ready for the
every time.
Bones Highland Derrick Jones Jr. pick and roll.
Oh my God, it sounds terrible.
Lob City. Um,
Anyways, okay.
And
Gotcha.
then at 12, I do have the Spurs, so not much higher than you. I just think I'm just so low on the Clippers that the Spurs ended up here. Their over-under is 36.5, which is kind of high still, I think, for
Yeah.
a team that had like 22 wins last year. But, Wemby is very exciting. I think everyone's excited about that. Chris Paul, Harrison Barnes, those veterans, I think, should help their other guys. Hopefully, you can see another young guy or two make a jump. And
Yeah.
it should be a fun team to watch, even if they're bad, because they were fun
Yeah.
last year and they were pretty bad. So, yeah, I don't see this being the play-in year, especially with how loaded the West is. I couldn't get them any higher than 12.
Totally agree with you. I have the Clippers at 12. And I thought that was kind of crazy. So I'm glad we're on the same page. Yeah, we're low on the Clippers this year. Especially now with the Kawhi Leonard news, because I did this before that too. So good on us. And 11, I have the Houston Rockets. And let me tell you,
Hater.
I I wanted so badly to put them higher because I really like that team. But then I look at everyone else and I'm like, are you kidding me? It's tough. Like Rockets are one of those teams to me that like I could see them at like 11, or I could also see them at like 8. Like I could see that for them this year. Because they are exciting to watch, and you got Shingun, who had like an all-star level season last year. Jalen Green at the end of last year was on a tear. Fred VanVleet still doing his thing. Yeah, the addition of Reed Shepard, who's shooting lights out, looking great in preseason. Um, just
With
so
the
many
mustache.
so many players like that I really enjoy watching,
Perhaps
and I
too
want to
many.
put them higher. But yeah, I want to put them higher. But I think other teams with the more experience will prevail in the regular season a little bit. So that's why I have them at 11.
Such a hater. My
You think
11
I wanted this?
is the Houston Rockets. Uh,
Ah, you hater! You hater! Hater!
I wanted them to be in the play-in, and I just couldn't do it. This is the last year, though. This is the last year I'm missing the play-in. Next year we'll be there. But yeah, the 10 teams above them, I think, just all have a little more. And we'll get into those teams one by one as we progress. But I just think the Rockets, we're still kind of in a place finding out, figuring out.
Yeah.
We haven't even extended Jalen Green or Shingun. Got to maybe pick one of the two. I'm not sure if that's what we're doing. We got a bunch of young guys: Tari Eason, Jabari Smith, Cam Whitmore, Amin Thompson. Like we have all these different guys, and we got to figure out who are these guys because we can't have 12 guys. We need to have like 7 guys.
Yeah,
So
12-man rotation like that is not going to be good. It's just too many people. Yeah.
yeah, we just need to figure out who I think is the future of the organization. Then we can move on from the Fred VanVleets and the Dylan Brooks and those people and really focus in on our new core. So I think this is kind of the last year of kind of figuring out that identity and then
Yeah.
progressing forward from that. At
Okay.
the 10, the bottom of the play-in, I have the Golden State Warriors. Um, yeah, so for me, they barely made the play-in last year. And I think, you could have a jump from Pods, maybe Kuminga. But aside from that, it's a lot of the same. Draymond, I can't imagine he'll be great this year. Steph is going to be Steph. He's going to carry most of the torch, I
Hmm.
think. But if he misses any time, they can't win. Like, I don't know how they win games when he doesn't play. I don't see it being possible. So, especially in the competitive West, no Clay. Maybe that's good. Maybe that's bad. We'll see. But yeah, I couldn't get them any higher than 10. I think with the struggles they had last year going into this year, I do like the Buddy Hields and the Anthony Melton additions. I just don't think it's enough to make them like a super competitive team.
Um, Hater. Oh, well, I put the Warriors at 10 too. So that's fine. Like I said, like I would want to put the Rockets here, but I just think with Steph Curry on your team, you are going to be you're going to be fighting for a seed of some sort. Do I think they make the playoffs? Probably not. But I think 10th seed at least for the Warriors. Like you said, like I think it'll be better for them not having Clay there, less of an expectation from him, like trying to force minutes for him. Still got Andrew Wiggins if he can kind of be his old self
Who
again.
knows? Who knows
Who
what's going on?
knows? I like Kyle Anderson a lot. Wasn't
I
mentioned, but
forgot
he's going
about
to
him.
be good coming off the bench. Just
Yeah,
kind of like a stoic kind of presence who can kind of play make a little bit,
it's
kind
a
of
good
help
word for
out.
Kyle Anderson.
Stoic.
Yeah,
Thank you. Slow-mo. Stomo. Stoic.
Stomo.
Slow-mo.
It's crazy.
Altogether. Um, so so that's my 10. Number 9,
Dun, dun.
Lakers.
Hater.
Because hater, Lakers, because I every year I put them a little bit higher and I put them too high always. So now I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna be realistic with myself. They're gonna make the play-in for the 100th time.
LeBron's
Essentially
like, I hate
every
the
year.
play-in, and then every year he
It is
beats
like
the play-in. He's like, okay, thank God the
literally,
play-in's here.
I know exactly. So I see them again in the play-in. They just didn't do anything this offseason to make me think they'll
Nothing.
be
They did
better.
nothing.
Nothing. And I last year I had them at the 5th seed. And I was like, I thought that was like
I had him
pretty.
as the 2 seed.
I remember. And I mean, I think another year of like the same constant is going to be good for them, but also like they're going to have the same injury. Vanderbilt is still out, and then
His street
you
clothes
just have the
game
same
is elite
guys.
though. He's a fashion
I
icon on the
guess
bench.
he sure is. We have Dalton Connect, who I'm super excited about. He scored
Connect
38 points in a
40.
preseason game. 38.
I know, but Connect 4. I wanted it to be Connect 40. That
Connect's 38.
doesn't have the same ring to it, I think.
Yeah, you're right. Anyways, so that's kind of a bright spot, but how many minutes is he gonna get? Who knows? Hopefully he gets a bit. Max Christie be got. Regardless, Lakers are 9th seed. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I have as my 9 seed, the Los Angeles Lakers. Yeah, this part kind of went 1, 2, 3 like that. Rockets, Warriors, Lakers. Surprisingly, just like the teams we talked about in the East, all have the same over under 43.5. So
Hmm.
but for me, that the ranking them in that order kind of felt pretty easy. I think, they made, like you said, they made the plan last year. Their team didn't really change much. They do have a new coach, so I think they'll have some kinks to work out during the regular season with the new system. They'll have to incorporate Connect as well as, maybe a little more Max Christie, Maxwell Lewis, those guys. Try not to play LeBron year 22, 38 minutes a game. We'll see. Make it to the playoffs without LeBron being absolutely exhausted. Maybe not
Yeah,
focus as much on the in-season tournament, the NBA Cup. It's okay. We don't need the NBA Cup this year. Got it
yeah.
last year. Um, but yeah, that's where I have them. And then at the 8 seed, this is a swing team for me. This is a team that I think is in a weird place. And I could see them being great, but they have to do something first. And that team is the Pelicans. I have at the 8 seed. And then
Okay.
what I'm talking about, of course, is Brandon Ingram. I don't know what's going on with him and that team. Seems like he shouldn't be there. They released. I don't remember who talked about this last time. They talked about running Herb Jones at the center to start the season.
What?
Yeah. So
Oh my God. We did
that
not
that
talk about that. Oh my
that's the report
God.
that came out kind of recently. Is they're like, maybe we'll run Herb Jones. So I think what they're thinking is DeJounte, CJ, Trey Murphy, Zion, Herb Jones, which is like I guess is their best 5 players. It's just not really like an actual lineup. Um,
Like Pirtle's gonna bully him. Like I'm just
uh,
thinking of like any. Okay. Anyways, continue. Sorry.
so that's interesting. But if they can trade Ingram for anything and just free up some room on their team, make a little more sense, get a center from somewhere, go trade back Valanciunas for all I care. Do something because I
Yeah.
don't like whatever is going on over there with that. But they're at 45.5 is their over under. But I think, the talent is there. I think with DeJounte, Zion, even Brandon Ingram who's there, CJ. I mean, that is a good team for a regular season, of course, if they're all healthy, which we know Zion and BI have had some injury concerns in the past.
Yeah.
But even the guys around the edge, Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, Jose Alvarado, we like a lot of those guys, and I think they could be a pretty good team. So I have them here at the 8 seed.
Nice. At my 8th seed, a little bit different. I have the Kings,
Okay.
Sacramento Kings. Again, this is a team I would have higher, but I just think other teams kind of have their identity figured out a bit more.
Hmm.
I love the addition of DeRozan. It's going to be great for them if there's any injury concerns to Fox or Sabonis or Monk or whatever. So it's going to help with scoring. Their defense is abysmal. So that's why I kind of think I have them a little bit lower than some other teams, perhaps.
Hmm.
Just because I don't see where they're going to stop other teams.
Their defense is
Uh,
going to be bad.
yeah, so that was the talent on the offensive side is good enough to be better than like the Lakers. But their defense is just going to bring them down, and That's why I have them at the 8th seed. Um, at 7th, I have the Pelicans.
Okay.
So again, and I would probably put them higher, but if they made a move, like you mentioned, like if they without someone on the center, Herb Jones at center is not gonna go well. It's just not. Is he 6'5"? Come on.
He's like 6'7".
Come on.
He's
No.
bigger than you think.
That's fine. That's not good enough.
That's
I'm
fair.
not sorry. I love Herb Jones.
Something we should talk about really quickly. I haven't looked at the whole list. The NBA
Yeah.
100 top 100 players came out for like ESPN and The Ringer, and I don't remember
Oh,
which list. And we can talk about this next episode.
yeah.
But one of them has like Herb Jones at 97 and Alex Caruso at like 50 something. And I was like, this seems incorrect. I don't know. I don't know, like the range
That
here. It seemed kind of similar in terms of what they do and how good they are. So
and he's like younger. Anyways. Um, but yeah, so I have the Pelicans at 7, basically. This is all gonna be planned. It's gonna be Pelicans, Kings, Lakers, Warriors. Aren't they? Oh no, they're not all in the Pacific Division. 3 of them are. Pelicans are Southwest, though.
get that Lakers Warriors playing, LeBron Steph playing again for like the fourth time.
Every year, dude. I'm over it.
It's
But
funny.
that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Anyways.
My 7th seed, I have the Kings. So we just swapped the Kings and Pelicans here. Yeah, in terms of players I like, this is one of the teams. A lot of people that we like on this team: Fox, Sabonis, DeRozan, Keegan Murray, all those guys. I think this will be a really fun team. I'm enjoying. I think I'll enjoy this team quite a bit. I honestly kind of think, maybe this is a Jeremy Grant destination. That could be good if they decide to fork up something for him. Probably Kevin Herter
Money.
and something else for the salary to match. But then
Yeah.
they would have to run, I think, Fox, DeRozan, Keegan, Jeremy Grant, Sabonis, which could be interesting.
I don't hate that. I honestly
Yeah,
don't.
it's a big lineup. Keon Ellis, I guess, gets relegated to the bench in that scenario. But no, I like the team a lot. I want to see them succeed. Their over under is 46.5, so just one above the Pelican. And again, I looked up all this after I put these in place. So it just happened to kind of line up with the over unders, which I think is interesting.
Yeah. Well, we're all pretty close, which is
Yeah.
also what I find so funny about this. Yeah.
In the West, in the 6th seed out of the play-in race. It was kind of between two teams for me in this 5-6 spot. I ended up going with the Suns at the 6th seed. 47.5 there over under. Same with the next team I'll talk about. But for me, the reason I went with them at the 6th seed instead of the other team that I'll get to is Kevin Durant is old. Bradley Beal gets injured a lot. Kevin Durant also in the regular season does get injured too. And then they don't have a ton of depth that I love. They did add some great pieces like Tyus Jones. They still have Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, F tier center Yusuf Nurkic, of course. Monte Morris they added behind Tyus Jones. So I think the team will run a little smoother this year. But again, this is one of those teams I feel like with the star power on it, they're mostly going to be focused on the playoffs. They're not probably super concerned about the amount of wins they have in the regular season. And I do think with the new coach, Mike Budenholzer, some new additions to their team, a lot of the regular season will be kind of, okay, what can we do that is going to work? And they're going to run kind of different things and experiment a little bit. But still good enough, I think, to be a playoff team and have that figured out by the time the playoffs come around.
I think you make a lot of great points about that. That's a 6 seed, right? So 6 seed, I have the Memphis Grizzlies.
Memphis.
Just because, I could see them being higher, but I think just so many new players, not new players, but like players that are playing with each other for the first time, just like figuring out the kinks and whatnot. I think they will kind of settle into like that 5th, 6th seed. I think 6th seed more likely. John Morant is back. Great for them. Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to be great. You got Marcus Smart, who's going to be playing with them kind of for the first time. Desmond Bain is great addition. Gigi Jackson will hopefully be in the rotation, but I think he's out for a bit, right?
Definitely
With an
3
injury.
months, yeah.
Yeah, so you missed that too in the beginning. Their depth isn't my favorite. I don't really know who's coming off the bench for them. Luke Kennard.
Luke Kennard, he's on that roster. Yeah, Brandon Clark,
Yeah,
he's coming back. Come on.
so that's why I'm at the 6th seed. It's going to be great to see them though competing again. We love watching John Morant on court. On the court.
On the court, yeah.
On the court. Jaren Jackson Jr., friend of the pod, so of course. But yes, I have him 6th seed. 5th seed.
Friend of the pod is hilarious.
Dude, come on, I have my hat. Come on,
Uh,
dude. Fifth seed, I have the Dallas Mavericks.
oh, okay.
Um, and the reason why maybe they're not as high as like other people might think is just because I think they're a team that's also concerned with the postseason
Mhm.
more, and I don't think they'll be trying to push Luca or Kyrie more than they need to. They have Klay Thompson now, but I have a feeling that he is gonna, sit here and there as well. He looked pretty good in the preseason, kind of fitting into that mold. They have some cool young players that I saw playing in the preseason, which I like too. But I just think they're going to um, end up at the fifth seed. I think they were fifth seed last year too. So, but it'll be better. Like last year's kind of rocky. They kind of started like toward the middle, kind of toward the bottom, and then like toward the end, they just really propelled up the rankings. So I think they'll kind of always be in the middle toward the top all season. It's my fifth
Gotcha.
seed.
Um, yeah, my 5 seed. This is where I have the Grizzlies. So that
Mhm.
was the other team I was alluding to. Same win over under as the Suns, 47.5. I had this team all the way down to 11 last year. It was a big bold take, and it paid off. And now I think they're going to jump right back up in the playoff mix. Ja coming back, Marcus Smart, Desmond Bain, Jaren Jackson. Fun starting lineup. Zach Edey has actually looked pretty good in the preseason as
Mhm.
well at that center spot. Um, so yeah, I think the Grizzlies are going to be pretty good. I think the best part about last year for them is they did find some pieces that they can bring from the bench because they had so many injuries that they were just playing guys and they were like, all right,
Yeah.
who is going to be on this team long term? You get out there, you get out there. Now, they have GG, of course, is injured, like you mentioned. Scottie Pippen Jr. They just signed on this deal. They have the Vince Williams. They have guys like that I think can have good rotational minutes for them. And last time they were healthy 2 years ago, they're a 50-win team. So I could see something like that happening again.
Yeah.
And then at the 4 seed is where I have the Minnesota Timberwolves. Um, yeah, for me, over under, by the way, 52.5. Second highest in the West, actually.
It's pretty high.
Yeah, so the thing for me, of course, is the trade. The trade is weird. I don't know how it makes their team look in the regular season. Um, with Julius Randle instead of Cat, I feel like Cat is such a regular season wins player, like that, like he feels like that kind of guy to me. Julius Randle, I'm not so sure. Um, yeah, I just think, I mean, it's not like 4G is super low or egregious, but it just feels like there will be some amount of figuring out how does their team now work, because I feel like Cat as an individual talent, of course, is great, but what he brought to the offense, I think, is so dynamic in terms of his spacing and shooting and all that. And then him and Rudy kind of did this interesting, paint defense thing where like Cat would actually guard the guy that is the primary post threat, and then Rudy played like help defense, which I thought was interesting. So just seeing like how they kind of adjust those things will be interesting. Um, but I have him at the 4 seed, which is not terrible.
And the West four seed, I mean, is like the first seed in the East
Yeah,
or
it's like
second. You
right
know what I
below the
mean?
Celtics, basically.
Yeah. Fourth seed, I have the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Oh,
For all the same reasons you said. I think I did this before the cat. No, I definitely did it after the cat trade. Same reasons. It's going to be an interesting fit. They're going to be very good. Anthony Edwards is an S tier shooting guard. He will be incredible this year. Really break out. Even if last year's a breakout, then this is going to be even more incredible. Um,
yeah.
Obviously, this is his team now. I love the addition of DiVincenzo. I think that helps a lot. He's pretty durable after that injury. He's been sticking around these teams, not really sitting out. So, I have him the fourth seed.
Yeah.
It's definitely tough. Third seed, you and I disagree, which makes total sense. I have the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
And the reason why I have the Suns this high, I had them pretty high last year and they fell to six. And I have them as a third seed this year again because I really feel like this year they're even built better for the regular season. Like the depth last year was so much worse than it is now. And I have my concerns. But when you have top 10 NBA players like Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, like I have to respect that. And
And Grayson Allen.
Even though Kevin Durant is old, and I really, 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 if they bring Bradley Beal off the bench, this is gonna make me feel
That
so
would
much
change my
better.
ranking a little bit for
Exactly,
sure.
exactly. So I'm hoping for that kind of. This is kind of my wishful thinking, but I think they will just be solid throughout the regular season and end up at the third seed. Um, because I respect KD and Book that much. And I don't know. I feel like Book's taken a mature step in the right direction after Team USA. So I
You're
kind
thinking
of
about Olympic book. You think you're recency bias.
a little recency bias, but it did just happen. And I'm hoping because I know it's a great NBA player. I don't like him as personally, but it's like I want to like them all, right? So I'm like maybe
Yeah,
maybe I'm giving him a chance. Let me put it that way. And
fair enough.
yeah, I kind of see them as a third seed.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, the third seed ended up being the Denver Nuggets. 51 and a half is their over under. It's tough. They lose KCP. Jamal Murray has looked bad lately. Looked great in the playoffs against the Lakers, but against the Timberwolves, he kind of had a bad series. Looked really bad for Team Canada. And now his hairstyle is weird. It's a weird hairstyle.
He changed. I didn't see it. He changed
Yeah,
it.
he has like cornrows now or something, braids, whatever you call those. Yeah, I know. Their like whole team has actually a different
He's
hairstyle.
doing the he's doing the Aaron Gordon thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
No, but I think the depth is a little bit of a cause for concern. I think they're really going to be playing with Christian Brown, Peyton Watson, Julian Strawther, etc. Just trying to figure out who can play on this roster and kind of fill in those minutes. Now every year they just keep losing a new key piece, so we'll see. I do think Jokic is enough to make you a kind of a wins machine. So I mean, I have him at the third seed. It's not like I have him super low. Just kind of the reasons they didn't crack my top two is for what I just said.
Yeah.
And then I was much higher on this team than you. I have the Mavericks at two. And you kind of mentioned it. The reason I have them at two is because I think they were kind of bad last year in the first half. And after the PJ Washington Gafford trades, they were like so good. And this is gonna be a whole year of that. No Grant
Yeah.
Williams, none of that continuity. They made it to the finals. Like I feel like they're really gonna kind of show up and show out. And I mean their over under is 49 and a half. It's actually less than the Nuggets and the Wolves. But I just think I'm a little worried about Clay. We'll see. He hasn't looked great so far, but they didn't really lose any key pieces. Derek Jones, I guess, would be the biggest one, but
Josh Green.
yeah, they did bring in Najee Marshall, which I think is good. Maybe a little bit of a jump from Jaden Hardy would help. Luka is a relatively healthy star.
Yeah.
Um, and
Kyrie's
this
also pretty.
Yeah,
I
Kyrie
mean, recently.
when
Recently.
there's not antics happening, yeah, he's pretty good out there.
Yeah.
So I just feel like this can be a pretty good team this year. And that's why I have them all the way up at two.
Yeah. Mavericks were hard for me, but yeah. I obviously I could see them anywhere in that range. At two, I had the Nuggets. With Jokic, I mean, you got to respect the best player in the world right now. So, and like you said it best, they're literally losing one key player each year. It's just so funny to me, and still ending up at the second seed or third seed, whatever we have, like, is incredible. It's a testament to what they've built after years and years of trying to put it together. I think Jamal Murray has a good year, like he did last year. Maybe plays a little bit of a chip on his shoulder because although he's Canadian, so he's probably really nice. I don't know. That's just me typecasting. But didn't look great in the playoffs. Maybe wants a little bit of like revenge and trying
Yeah,
to show like, hey, we are still like a force to be reckoned with. You should still be afraid. But I can't take them seriously when they're wearing their city jerseys or anything that says 5280.
yeah,
Like
it's
makes
bad.
zero sense.
Figure it out, man.
Um, but that's what I have the second seed. First seed, the only team left,
Right.
I have the OKC Thunder.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, and I'm assuming you
Yes.
have them as well as the first seed. I think that's
Yes,
yeah.
I
So
do.
their depth is great. Hartenstein losing him in the beginning it takes a hit for sure. But the thing is, they were the first seed last year without him, and now they have Alex Caruso. They're just gonna be so good, and they're young, like they're durable. Um, their injury woe, like they don't really have injury woes, and I doubt they're gonna have them either this year because their players or stars are as young as they are. They're gonna be really really fun to watch, really hard to beat, and I'm really excited to see them this year. Another team that like I kind of am a fan of now, just because I really like what they built after so many years of trying to put it all together. So I think they're going to be like a regular season machine, and then we'll see how they go in the playoffs. They already got some experience, so I think it's all up from here for the Thunder. Anything to add?
Yeah, no, I mean they were the one seed last year, and all they did was get better and add better pieces. So I don't see how they wouldn't be the one seed this year. They're over under 56 and a half, second highest, of course, to the Celtics.
Yep.
Um, yeah, it's interesting. Also, I have to make a change here, a correction. Murray
Hmm.
does not have cornrows. He has twist.
Oh, you looked up what it's called?
Well, no, let me explain. There's somebody else that has cornrows that I was thinking of. So let's share the screen for a second here.
Okay.
So this is Jamal Murray's new hairstyle. It's like these
Okay.
twists, you see?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. The person that has cornrows is Michael Porter Jr.
Oh God.
I was thinking of a different Denver Nugget. Yeah, he has cornrows now. I don't know if you've seen the Jokic goatee. He's looking nice and rough and tough. And then of course, Aaron Gordon now with his dreads down, looks bad. So yeah, the whole Nuggets roster really just got
They're looking rough right now.
different things going on over there.
In order of my least favorite, my Porter Jr. Cornrows, Jokic with the beard and the goatee, then Aaron Gordon with his hair down, then Jamal. I don't hate the twist for Jamal Murray.
No, the twists aren't bad. I just remember seeing a cornrows and
Corn,
I thought it
yeah,
was him, but it was actually Michael Porter Jr.
it's pretty bad.
Yeah, their whole team looks
um,
different.
yeah,
Wild.
but I guess yeah, that's our rankings. Pretty similar. A couple
Yeah,
of like differences between a couple of seeds, but regardless, it's usually just a swap here or there. So,
yeah. Our tiers
uh,
I think were pretty identical in terms of where we kind of see teams in their range of outcomes,
yeah,
which
and
is
the
good.
West was a lot. I don't think we even mentioned this. The West was much harder to kind of
Oh
like
yeah,
fit. Like that top
the
six
top
or
six.
seven,
Yeah, top six
yeah,
feels good.
top six feels really good, and even that middle is like, where do they kind of end up? I think we gave good reasons why, and like why might somebody be higher than others, but it's gonna be. I can't wait for this season.
Yeah,
Obviously,
we'll
I can't wait
see.
for any season. So,
I do have my
um,
old predictions here, so to quickly recap some of my worst takes from last year, I had the Lakers and the Warriors as the 2 and 3 seed. That was bad. They both made the play in. I had the Thunder at the 7 seed, which I don't think was actually a bad prediction because they were literally in the play in the year before. Who would have predicted them to be the 1 seed?
yeah,
Of course, the legendary Clippers take, or not the Clippers, sorry, the Grizzlies take at the 11th seed. Uh,
legendary.
my worst take in the East, I had the Magic as the 11th seed. That was not great because they were in the playoffs. But everything else was pretty solid. So I'm happy.
I was trying to find my old ones too. Let's see. Oh, here, I'll tell you my worst one. One of my worst ones. Suns first seed, not even third.
Oh,
I don't know, first seed. I had
high on the
Warriors
Suns.
3. I had Thunder as the 10th seed. And then the East, I had the Magic at 10. Yeah, it's definitely the worst one. So not too bad.
Yeah.
But
This year
yeah,
we'll have none of them wrong, so it's okay.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, we're both not gonna have them wrong.
We're both gonna be 100% correct. Yeah. Somehow, I don't know how it happens, but
Yeah.
all right,
All
let's
right.
uh let's get to awards, shall we?
All right, cool. I like hopping around. Is that cool with you? I
What
don't
do you
want to go
mean
in
by
like
that?
order of like least important to most important.
I'll follow your lead.
Okay, I'm just gonna hop around.
Okay.
But I think it's your turn. You pick first though.
So are we doing all three in this award
I think
and
so,
then
yeah.
going to the next award?
Yeah, because I will not lie. I'm recording with the band soon, and I have to use the restroom.
Okay,
So
let's go quickly then. Um, I'll
just
start
a
with
bit.
Coach of
But
the
I
Year.
want to talk about, yeah, let's do Coach of the Year. Cool.
Last year, Mark Daigneault, we both had as Coach of the Year, and he did win, so that was awesome. This year, at third, I have Joe Mazzulla, just because the Celtics are probably going to be the 1 seed, and he didn't even get any acknowledgement at all for that last year.
Yeah.
At two, I have Nick Nurse, because I think the 76ers will be pretty good. And I think Nick Nurse
It's
will
a
get
good
some
one.
credit for that. And then at the 1 seed, somebody that I don't think has won this award, and I think their team will be really good, as just talked about by our standings predictions. Jason Kidd, Mavericks. Um,
Wow,
I
it's a
have
good
as
one.
my number one guy as coach of the year. You know, typically this is the team that overachieves. So I don't think like they're not going to give it to the Thunder guy again, right? They're not going to give it
Yeah.
to people that we think are going to be good already. And I think people will think the Mavericks are going to be good, but if they have like a really really good season, I could see him winning it, especially with their playoff success they just had.
Yeah, this is fun. I have none of those as my
Awesome.
three, so that's really fun.
Yeah,
So Coach of the Year third, I have Jamal Mosley for the Magic. I know he was a finalist last year, right? He was
he
like one of
was.
the
He
top three.
was.
I think they're just going to be even better this year.
Yeah.
So I think people are going to be paying attention now and watching them and seeing like the adjustments. Second, I have Taylor Jenkins
Yeah, yeah. I thought
because
about him for sure.
because of the narrative, like how bad they were last year, and they'll be
I
good
want to
this
say I took
year.
him off my list because I think he won
Yeah,
a
I
couple
think he
years
did.
ago.
I was after I said it, I was actually should have checked. I don't know if he's won. If he's won, then it's less a little bit
Because for some reason it's like they win, they're like, okay, no more. You don't get to win this award anymore.
for whatever reason. And first, just because he's never won it and he should, is Eric Spoelstra.
Eric Spoelstra. Yeah.
Um,
The Heat have to be so good for him to win, though.
I know, and I don't. They could be. That's the thing. Like I see.
I don't. I'm out on the Heat this season. They're not doing it.
The thing is
First
like
round
if the
exit.
Heat, to me, if the Heat are like fifth seed, that's good enough for me
No
to give
shot
them
they're the fifth
Eric.
seed. That would be insane.
I'm just trying to defend why he deserves Coach of the Year. Okay. I just want him to get it at this point. And I will say this was one of the harder ones for me.
Yeah,
Um,
it was hard for
to
me to
kind of
find. Like
like,
there, I feel like last year Mark Daigneault was kind of obvious for me. This year I was
yeah,
kind of like really having to look and think about it. I didn't have anyone that just came to mind.
yeah, for sure. Like the only one I'm really confident with is like Taylor Jenkins. If he's never won, I don't really know.
Yeah.
Um, okay, cool. Let's do Clutch Player of the Year.
Clutch player of the year. Last year I had Dame, Ant, Shea. That was my three last year. None of those
Okay.
people won. It was Steph, right?
I Yeah, I don't have it pulled up, so I don't know who I had last year. So I'll check later.
Okay.
Um, Clutch Player of the Year. Third, I have Damian Lillard.
All right.
He's gonna just do more this year, and he's always kind of talked about being clutch and Dame time. I mean, obviously,
Dame time. Literally a Dame award.
literally. Second, I have because I think he had some moments last year, and I think it's gonna kind of happen more. Jalen Brunson.
Mm.
I think he's gonna have some clutch plays. Like I think he kind of had it down the stretch at some points in the playoffs too. So um, I kind of see that he might be talked about
Yeah,
in that
no, that's a good
respect.
pick.
And first, I have DeMar DeRozan.
Damar. He was second last year, right? He was close to winning.
Yeah, I just think he's just been talked about being so clutch that he will. It's kind of like those. Like at some point, he will win this award type thing. Just depends what season. So
Yeah, the
I
reason
think
I
he'll have a
didn't
chance.
include Damar is because he's on the same team as De'Aaron Fox, who won this award the first time it came out. And I just
Yeah,
don't think they'll give it to two Kings in 3 years. I just don't see that happening. Um,
yeah,
but I wish he would win it. Here's
yeah.
my three. It's actually the same three as last year,
Oh,
but
really?
in reverse order. So my third is Dame. I do have
Okay,
Dame on there at third.
cool.
I think he'll be the closer for the Bucks. I think he'll have a better year this year. I have Shea at number two. Very clutch guy for the Thunder. Showed it in the playoffs, I think, in their close games. And then one, I have Anthony Edwards because I think
Nice.
he will have to be that guy for the Wolves. Um, I mean, like, are you going to give the ball to Julius Randle
You
in
don't
the
trust
closing
Nikhil
moments?
Alexander Walker, dude? Come on.
Yeah, he just feels like he will have like he feels like that kind of guy, you know. He feels like a clutch player
What I love is that
archetype.
he also wants to be that guy. So I think clutch
Yeah,
player of the year has to be someone who's also not afraid. And I feel like some players seem like they could be, but they shy away from the moment, and he doesn't. So I do love that pick. Ant-Man's a good one for clutch player.
yeah, yeah. I think
Cool.
yeah, hard award to predict because you have like teams just randomly have to be in a bunch of close games. So
Yeah, and you just have to like assume that they will be, and
yeah,
yeah,
but with the
interesting
competitive
award
West, you know, Anthony Edwards, I feel like could be that guy.
for sure.
All right, let's go
Uh
to I think they renamed this award to Sixth Player of the Year, which is
oh,
interesting.
really?
I think
I
for the WNBA and the NBA, sixth player, I
That's
guess.
fine.
Um,
Okay, let's do it.
yeah, so I literally thought of two guys for this, and it was really hard to think of a third one. So I was a little fun. Russell Westbrook, number three, baby.
I
Let's
like
go.
it. I like it.
Leading the Nuggets bench unit. I love Russell Westbrook. Last year, by the way, I
Yeah.
had Derek White at one, Bobby Portis at two, and Malik Monk at three. I don't know how I thought Derek White was coming off the bench, but that was wrong. I think maybe I thought Al Horford and Porzingis were starting or something. I don't know.
I don't remember. Yeah.
But yeah, I had Monk. I mean, sorry, yeah, Monk, Portis, and Derek White.
Okay.
For second, last year's winner, Nas Reed. Why I have him here? Because I don't like repeat awards. But I think with the cat trade, he'll have to be so much more important for that spacing off the bench as a big man. So that's why I do have him up here. And then coming back for his revenge, I have Malik Monk. He's coming for it. He wants it. He wants to win it. He should have won it last year, but he got injured right at the end of there and lost grip of it. Still think he's one of the best bench players in the league. I think their offense is going to be really good over there in Sacramento. So that's why I could see him winning that award this year.
Okay. I like those all a lot. Mine, I are none of the ones that you mentioned are also mine, but also this one was the hardest one for me. One, I knew for sure I wanted as my sixth man of the year. Two and three are like toss-ups. Like, hey, I looked at rosters and was like, oh yeah, he comes off the bench. I think he could be sixth man of the year. So third, I could not remember on the Pelicans starting lineup, is it Herb Jones or Trey Murphy Jr. starting? Trey Murphy the third, sorry.
Herb will be the starter.
So
Remember,
third,
he's
I have
starting at
Trey
center.
Murphy. I have Trey Murphy the third winning six man of the year
It's a
as
good
third.
pick. I actually think I saw a thing
Uh,
before they mentioned Herb Jones starting at center that it was going to be CJ coming off the bench, which I thought was kind of crazy. But
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I don't
Whoever,
know who the hell's coming off the bench in that team right now. But
yeah, but if I think whoever comes off the bench has a potential to be six man of the year because they're going to just bring some offense and some good defense and stuff. So um definitely I like Trey Murphy the third as a third. This one I realized now that he's probably gonna be seventh or eighth off the bench.
okay,
But I like it, and he's never kind of been like no, like he he's just never been praised for it. And I have TJ McConnell because he did such a good job coming off the bench
yeah, yeah,
last
yeah.
year and like really like was so good in the playoffs for the Pacers, and he's probably going to be behind Nimhart now. And
Hart's a starter over there, man.
oh, so then yeah, so he is six. I couldn't remember the
Mathurin will
starters.
probably be their sixth man.
Okay, so yeah, still, anyways, but I like TJ McConnell a lot. I think he does a really good job of like running the offense when Halliburton sits out. So I had him there, and then sixth kind of sucks because of the injury news. I have Isaiah Hartenstein. And I
You
really
said
want it.
sixth. Did you mean like your winner for sixth? Like that was
Yes, my winner
okay.
for six man of the year. I have Isaiah Hartenstein. Sorry, there's a lot in my
Well,
mind right now, and I'm trying not to pee my pants. So Isaiah Hartenstein. But I mean he's gonna be out for a bit, but I think he is. I think to me he's like a lock for six man of the year. When if he's healthy and doesn't like
yeah.
miss too many games.
Hopefully he doesn't miss
Um,
too much. Yeah.
yeah, that's all I'm worried about.
Somebody I just randomly
Um,
thought of that I'll shout out. Buddy
yeah,
Hield. Maybe he could
yeah,
be in contention for this if the Warriors are decent.
yeah. I kind of see him as like a Malik Monk type.
Yeah,
Like offense off the bench. Let's do most improved
let's do it.
player. Okay, so third, I have Jalen Johnson for the Hawks coming back. He was up for it last
He
year, but
was
he
on
got
there. Yeah,
injured.
yeah,
He was
for
up
sure.
there. I have him third. Second, I think he was number one for me last year. Second, I have Desmond Bain.
Mhm.
I think Grizzlies are going to be
He
in the
almost won this
forefront.
award 2 years ago, but Ja won it instead.
That's crazy to me on the
Yeah,
same team. That's
yeah.
crazy. But I feel like people forgot about him, and now he's gonna come back and people are like, oh, he's really good. He's like, yeah, he's been good, but
Yeah,
I think it'll be even a next level.
interesting.
And then first is who I have who should have won last year, Jalen Williams, J
J-Dub.
Dub.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I like that.
Um, yeah. So okay, what's yours?
I actually looked at the odds for this, for all of these
Mhm.
awards. You know who's first for this award that I really
It's
hate?
gonna upset me.
Yeah,
Oh,
Wimby.
Anthony Edwards. Oh, Wimby. Oh
It's like, brother,
God.
he was rookie of the year. We know
Yeah.
he's good. Like, what do
Yeah.
you mean most improved? You mean he was in his second year? Yeah, so I didn't have him though. Last year, by the way, my most improved player pick was Jordan Poole. So that's not very good. Jordan Poole,
Oh,
Franz
you
Wagner,
must have
Obi Toppin. Yuck.
you must atone for your sins.
This year though, third, I was high on him coming into the season. He had a really rough year. I'm hoping he bounces back this year. I got Scoot Henderson at third, hoping he has a really good year for the
I
Blazers.
like that. I like that.
Second, after being in a new situation after a tough playoffs, I have Josh Giddey. I think he could maybe run the Bulls and show that I think people are really down on him because of the playoffs. So if he comes out and has a good season, that's kind of that most improved narrative.
Yeah.
And then first, after begging for minutes, Jonathan Kuminga is who I have as my most improved player. If the Warriors, just play him a lot, I think he definitely has a shot to get there. And I think he
Yeah.
kind of started showing it last year. I did consider J-Dub and Jalen Johnson because they were both kind of there last year. So I was like, nah, like people should know, but like I think they're more likely to actually get votes for this because that's how it works for some reason. Um, but yeah,
I totally agree. I mean, you have to kind of take that into account. It's not who deserves it, it's who we talk about every time who has the best narrative going into it,
right.
really. Okay, cool.
All right,
I
let's
like
do
I like all those picks.
DPOY.
Okay, this one I have a lot for, so
Okay.
I'll have to trim it
Last
down.
year, I had AD, Evan Mobley, Mitchell Robinson. Not great picks on my part. This year, third, because I think the team defense is going to be elite and somebody has to get the award individually. I have Jalen Suggs because I think the Magic defense will be really good. And I think Jalen
Love
Suggs
that.
will be a big part of that. Second, I have Bam Adebayo, the Heat. Really versatile defender, really underrated. I like him a lot. I think he will be kind of up in the conversation. And first of his 10 DPOYs, I have Wemby. He was
Okay.
second last year as a rookie, and the Spurs weren't even a good team, and he was second. So, yeah.
Um, those are all great picks. So I have five, but I'm going to pick three right now, and I'm going to not include some that you mentioned, just so we could talk about some others.
Okay.
Third, I have Chet Holmgren because I think the Thunder.
Second in the odds, I think. Or
Really?
he's somewhere up there. Maybe he's not second, but when I looked at the odds, he is in there somewhere.
Yeah, he is a really good defensive player, and the Thunder are going to be really good defensively. He'll be a big part of it. So I have him third. Second, because I think they will have a really good defense like they did last year, I have Jaden McDaniels.
Mm.
Because I think he's going to have to do a little bit more work now because Cat is not there, and like Julius Randle is fine on defense, you know. So I think they'll expect Jaden McDaniels maybe to like defend the three and the four, maybe kind of doing what you said, like they'll defend, he'll defend like the 3-4, and then Rudy will come help if need be. So I think his role will be extended, basically.
Yeah.
And then first, I have Anthony Davis on my Los Angeles Lakers because he's really good.
No
And
bias here.
look, I'm just saying, if the Lakers if there's somehow they have a top defense, he's going to be a big part of it. And he's never gotten it, and I feel like every year he's so solid and so good. So I will kind of probably keep having him there until he gets it because he's very consistent. The other two I did have Wemby, and then I had Giannis. Those toward the bottom.
Mm.
So
Gotcha.
I picked those three for DPOI. Let us do Rookie of the
Let's do
Year.
it.
Okay, third, I'm gonna throw out my bias. No bias for this one. No
Okay.
bias. Third, Zach Edey, because he's gonna have so much time to prove that he's a good NBA player or whatever.
Yeah.
Second, okay, there's some bias. Matas Buzalis, because I think he's gonna have. I hope they run him.
That's funny.
He'll have like a chance to show that he's a really good rookie. And I don't know, like you said, like this draft class is kind of weak, so who knows how he'll be for the year. I'm excited to see what he does. First, I have Reed Shepard.
Let's go.
Yeah,
Houston.
yeah. Houston Rockets. Yeah, so he's been looking really good in summer league and preseason, and I hope he
Yep.
gets this is if he gets the minutes he deserves. And it's gonna be really tough because there's a lot of people there, but that's who I have.
Gotcha. Yeah, rookie of the year. Last year I had Wimby, Chet, Keontae George, so elite picks from me. Um, rookie of the year. Third, I have dun 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 Matas Buzelis. He made my list too, baby.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm
No
just excited to
bias.
see him. I'm just excited. I hope, like I said, he should play a lot because I don't think the Bulls will be good, like I predicted in my standings. And rookie of the year is really all about opportunity.
Yeah,
Uh, which is why Reed Shepard doesn't make my list because I don't think he'll play enough. I think he's
I
really
get
good.
it.
I just don't know if he'll play enough in Houston. Second, I have Alex Sarr, despite the 0 for 15 showing in summer league. The
That's
Wizards will be
interesting to me.
terrible, and he will play a lot, I think. That's really all that matters. I was kind of in between him and Bub Carrington because Bub Carrington has looked pretty good over there in Washington as well. Um,
Hmm.
but I just went with the higher guy, the higher pick.
Yeah.
And then at the one spot, I do have Zach Edey. Despite being
Oh, okay.
very low on the Grizzlies drafting him, if he's going to start and play a lot, he'll win the award.
Yeah,
It's
literally.
that simple. So, yeah, that's where we end up with that. All right.
Totally. Okay,
What,
great. I liked it a lot. Let's
what
MVP.
you look
This is
like you're
MVP.
about to die over there.
No, I'm
Um,
fine. I'm doing great.
MVP last year I had Jokic, so I was correct. And then I had Tatum and Fox, which are I don't know where those came from. Anyways, this year, third, and of course I looked at my standings for this because to win MVP, usually your team has to be pretty good. So third, I ended up with Jalen Brunson of the Knicks if they're a top two seed as predicted. And I think he'll have a lot of responsibility for that. Second, Jay Gilgis Alexander top three finisher last year. I think he'll be another top three finisher this year. OKC will be really good. But if, as predicted, the Dallas Mavericks finish number two, Luka Doncic will finally win an MVP for the seventh year in a row. I'll predict that Luka will win it, and by golly, he'll eventually win one of these damn awards.
He's right behind me, isn't he? I'm gonna do that joke every time I talk about him. Okay, so I'm pretty similar. MVP third, I have Giannis Antetokounmpo because I think they're just gonna be a really good
He's
regular
coming
season
back.
team. He's coming back. He's gonna be a little like first round exit. That ain't me. Let's get it done.
Yeah.
Second, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander because he is a very good basketball player and honestly, if the league wasn't as good, he would probably win it. You know what I mean? But there's one player who's a little bit better, and Luka Doncic. That's the man. This is the year. This is the year. I'm telling you, this is the year.
I can't predict it every year, and it never happens. It has to happen
Yeah.
sometime.
He's kind of like he's my AD for DPOY. Luka's my until he wins it, he will keep being my
I think
MVP.
last year was the first time I hadn't predicted Luca in like 3 years, and I was actually correct finally.
Yeah, but
But
the
this
thing is,
time,
but who made it to the finals? Luka did deserve it last year. That's what's crazy to
watch
me.
Shea win it. Watch the Thunder have like 60 wins.
It's gonna upset me. So it's not gonna be good enough. They're like, yeah, Shea, like he averaged 30, like 5 and 4. But I mean, they're the first. He's like, yeah, but Luca's like 25, 12, and 10. It's like, can you please just give it
Don't
to the man?
disrespect Luca. He'll average like 32, 12, and 10.
Look, look, you're right. You're right. So he should win. Anyways,
Surprised Ant didn't
oh
make the list for either of us. Probably
yeah,
a close
I,
fourth for me. Fourth or fifth. I had Giannis in consideration as well.
yeah, I considered him, but I just feel like the West is so. I just didn't think they're going to be as high, like fourth seed or
Yeah,
whatever. So it's
I had
like then they're
the
not going to have
Bucks
that.
and the Wolves at four, so I didn't end up. He didn't end up making the
Yeah,
ballot.
yeah. Did you want me to say the starting lineups real quick, ranked?
Do you have that? Do you have time for that? Are you gonna
I'll,
survive?
I'll I'll just kind of like so I'll describe what I did and then go in order.
Okay. So
That
yeah,
sounds
explain the listener what happened, what you're talking about.
Yeah, so the last few pods you and I have been ranking the starting point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center.
Don't worry if you
For
didn't listen, because you'll get them right now.
we're gonna go through it right now, essentially. So what I did is basically if we said a player was S tier,
Mhm.
I assigned them a 1,
Okay.
and then A tier 2, 3, 4, 5. So I
What did
added
you
them
do about our
all.
little special tiers? We have a couple special
I
tiers in
rounded
there.
up. I
Okay.
rounded up, and I added a 0.5. So it's like
Okay.
it's kind of like a middle. There'll be some 0.5s in here. There are a few teams that are about the same.
So it's
But
whoever's the lowest that's the best team.
yes, the lowest we had 2 teams that were 10.
Can I
So
guess?
it added yeah, who are the top 2 teams?
Celtics? I feel like
Yes.
everyone was really high except for like Al Horford probably.
Yeah.
Um, oh God, who would be the other team? The Knicks.
You're so close. Thunder.
Thunder. Yeah, I just didn't know how
Thunder.
high we ended up with like Chet and J Dub and I don't know.
I think we had them kind
Caruso?
of
Didn't we
high.
talk about Caruso? That feels like people that wouldn't be that high. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, we put quite a few in A tier, so there's a lot of 2s and some
Gotcha,
1s
gotcha.
with Shea.
Both
Knicks
one
were
seeds?
third.
Whoa.
Yeah, we're good at this. So good start. Knicks 11.5.
Okay.
So Knicks were right there. Sixers 4, Timberwolves 5, Bucks
Interesting.
6, Nuggets 7. So Bucks and Nuggets were tied. Sixers Timberwolves were also tied.
Okay.
Starting lineups. 8, 9, and 10 and 11 are all tied.
Wow.
So we got Cavaliers, Pacers, Mavericks, Kings. I think the Mavericks one is probably the most surprising.
Yeah.
I think some other players kind of pull it down, but there's a lot. I think it's kind of top heavy, you
Right.
know.
Right.
12, 12 and 13 are tied. Magic Lakers.
Interesting.
Pretty interesting, right?
The top heavy Lakers.
Literally. Yeah, it just like literally just puts them way up top. And then next we got Suns, 15.5. We got two tied right here, 15, 16. Warriors, Grizzlies. Pretty funny.
Okay.
Because they are rivals, basically. Maybe not as much now, but that was a fun rivalry when it lasted.
Yeah.
Heat, 17. Pelicans, 18, tied with the Heat. Clippers, 19. Then we got Hawks, tied, or Raptors, Rockets, then Spurs, then Trailblazers.
Oh, interesting. Tie.
Yeah, exactly. And then we got Bulls right below that, then Pistons, then Jazz, then Nets and Wizards are tied, and Hornets we say are the
That's
worst
the
starting
LaMelo
lineup.
hate right there. Getting all the way to the C tier.
You know what it was? It was the Miles Bridges F tier because it
Oh,
was like the only
so
one.
real.
He brought it down hard. It
That's
was
fair.
that.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
why.
That's pretty close. I mean, there's a couple teams like
Yeah,
the Mavericks, the Suns, I think were maybe kind of low on that.
yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
But I think I just did it for fun. I thought it was kind of fun to see like where we ended up ranking them in standings and then what we think their starting lineup. And I think
And of course,
how
there's
much the
coaching and
bench
there's
matters.
benches and there's
Yeah,
injuries. Yeah.
like some like the like like I think the Pacers have a really strong bench, but they're 9 right now. But like you include the bench, I mean it probably goes up.
Right.
I think that'd be kind of fun to do.
Our next video, tier listing each bench and the
Um,
We'll
yeah.
have to get to those city jerseys. I know you want to. I know
Oh
you
my
want to
God, I
so
want to
badly.
so bad. I want to talk so much shit about those city jerseys, dude. I want to talk so much shit. But before I talk so much shit, you have to take your shot. You missed, it's okay. And I want to say thank you everybody for listening if you made it this far. Super excited for this season. Who are you most excited about? What do you think we got wrong? What do you think we got right?
Let
Let
us
us
know in the
know
comments.
below. This has been Two Man Game with Damon and Dom.
Like, comment, subscribe, and bug it.